Ooh, and y'all can't hear me. See, that's why we do the test. We should be good to go. Welcome, y'all. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, which is the most important thing. Shout out to the gang. Happy Friday to y'all. We've got an today's show is going to be absolutely insane. This is going to be one of the craziest shows we've ever done on this channel. We've got so many topics we're going to cover, so many things we're going to get into, from Fani WIllis to Letitia James to Lindsay Halligan to Diddy to, I mean, we've got everything, a little bit of everything in there. We're going to get back into this Devyn Michaels trial. So hopefully y'all are ready for it. It's going to be a great time. Before we get into it, I got to say what's up to the people, man. We starting with the cough already. Shout out to everybody who's in here. So good to see y'all this morning. We've got my awesome, amazing Amy in here, of course, doing what she does, and that's be amazing. J Money, the big dog, is in the building. We've got In Blue, Les Cleaver. Good to see y'all. Taco Tuesday is in here on a Friday. Very, very happy Friday to y'all as well. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it because we got a lot to cover, as I mentioned. So thank you, first of all, to all 800 of you that liked the video so far. My God. If you haven't liked the video yet, please make sure you do that. Like the video on your way in. Likes are free. It helps the channel continue to grow. It lets the algorithm know y'all are enjoying the show, and it shares the video, the channel, this live stream out with more people. And I didn't welcome y'all either. Welcome to the family in here. Welcome to another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. Hopefully, if it's your first time, you stay for a little while because I think you're going to enjoy the show. We're going to have some great conversations and hear some interesting news that we've been able to compile over the past several days. So we're going to get into it as well. I will also be giving a special thank you to everyone who shares the video. If you're feeling extra generous, you can click the share button. It goes and it shares the video out to Facebook, Instagram, X, and even to your group chat via text. So thank you to everyone that does that. I see a lot of y'all sharing the video over on X. And of course, I will be giving a very, very special shout out to everyone who drops a super chat as well. So I'll be reading super chats as we go throughout the show. So thank you to everyone who does that as well. I appreciate y'all so much. And it really does help out the channel continue to grow. It helps us keep the lights on here at the channel as well. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Like I said, I'm not going to waste any time. Good to see all of y'all in the building as well. Good morning to everyone who's in here. And we'll go ahead and get started with our first topic, which is Diddy. I know you guys have heard what's been going on with Diddy. There's been a lot of rumors surrounding his situation in prison. First, he was doing good. Then it seemed like he had a job doing some laundry. Now we're hearing that his release date may be pushed back because of a situation that happened in jail. It's being alleged that Diddy was involved in partaking in a little bit of some toilet wine. Boy, this story just gets crazier and crazier. We're going to go ahead and get into it here, what's being reported, and then we'll actually get into some of the facts surrounding what's going to happen to Diddy moving forward if this turns out to be true. Check this out from E! News.
Sean Diddy Combs is setting the record straight about his life behind bars, following a report that said the rap mogul, who is serving a 4-year sentence for 2 prostitution-related convictions, was caught drinking homemade alcohol in prison. His spokesperson emphatically denies the allegation, telling People magazine in a statement published November 9th, there have been several false and reckless reports circulating about Mr. Combs. He has not violated any prison rules. His sobriety and self-discipline are priorities, and he is taking them seriously. The 56-year-old was recently transferred to a low-security correctional facility in New Jersey after spending over a year at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. At the new institution, he was alleged to have created a mixture of Fanta, sugar, and apples, which ferments into alcohol after 2 weeks, TMZ reported. The spokesperson continues, this is only his first week at FCI Fort Dix, and unfortunately, rumors will surface throughout his time there. We asked the public and press to give him the benefit of the doubt, the privacy to focus on his personal growth, and the grace to move forward in peace. E! News has reached out to Combs' rep for further comment, but has not yet heard back. And while the rapper, who was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering charges in July, remains in federal custody, his official release date is set May 8, 2028, according to records viewed by E! News.
All right, so y'all know Diddy is over there at Fort Dix, all right? Hanging out, making some toilet wine, having a good time. And of course, 50 Cent was going to comment on this. I'm going to read this real quick, and now we're going to find out what's going on with Diddy's, how this is going to affect his release date. 50 Cent, of course, had this to say with this a picture of the article posted by Page Six that says exclusive. Sean Diddy Combs' prison release date pushed back after rapper allegedly violates multiple rules. 50 Cent said, "Dang, Diddy gotta chill. He gotta chill out so he could come home. I want to throw him a party." Hey, yo. Man, 50 Cent is just one of the most pettiest I've seen in the business, but he's kept his nose clean so far. I can't blame him. So let's find out from NBC News what happened here with Diddy's release date being pushed back and what he's looking at serving time-wise as a result of this story. Wow.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs facing more time behind bars. His release date pushed back to June of 2028 instead of May of that same year. The news coming after reports of Combs drinking in prison, something he denies, after he was accepted into a rehab program in prison that could have reduced his sentence by up to a year. He's also been accused of making a prohibited three-way phone call from prison. Here to make sense of it all, NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas and defense attorney and friend to Top Story, Sarah Azari. Guys, thanks so much for being here, both of you. So, Chloe, I'm going to start with you. I'm being told you spoke to Combs' rep earlier. What did you learn about this issue?
Sure. So Combs' representative, Judah Engelmeyer, telling me by phone earlier today, Tom, that yes, a three-way call was made between one of Combs' lawyers, who did bring in another person on that call with Combs while he has been.
This sounds like a Raven Liberty situation almost.
At Fort Dix, but that there was nothing improper about it. But again, that is not something that you were supposed to do at all. So those lawyers should have known better. As for drinking, he doubled down and said that Combs was not drinking and that, in fact, he's been admitted into this very specialized rehab program that Fort Dix offers. Is actually going to potentially lower his sentence. He could be released earlier because of that. So they're saying he's done nothing wrong and that any reports that he has been drinking is completely not true.
Sarah, you know, after his trial, a lot of people said he got a legal victory. It looked like he was going to be on his way out in a couple of years. How far back does this set him now?
Well, we don't know yet, Tom, because you still have due process rights in prison, right? So there's going to be an incident report if he, in fact, was drinking or there's an allegation. Then he's going to go to hearing. And if he's found guilty of it, then there's going to be sanctions. The sanctions could be that he could essentially be thrown in the hole, the SHU, the special housing unit. He could lose his privileges, and he could lose at least a minimum of 40 days of time credits, which is big. And I want to say this. Drinking in a BOP facility is as serious as committing murder in a BOP facility.
Is it really?
Yeah. As of 2020, the BOP changed the rules and reclassified drinking as one of the most severe charges in custody. So this is really serious if he actually did it.
You know,
do you guys think he did it? Knowing what you know, hearing what Diddy said as he was being sentenced, right before he was sentenced, do you think he would be this stupid and risk this? I think it's possible. I want to know what y'all think.
It's one of the most severe charges in custody. So this is really serious if he actually did it.
You know, Chloe, you had that great report on with that prison sort of consultant, Craig Rothfeld. I know you talked to him again. What did he tell you about this?
So again, the thing is that we don't know if Combs has been cited yet. It would be incredibly serious if he was drinking. And so Craig Rothfeld has said that, yes, they do take this very seriously, but also pointed to the fact that Combs, during his sentencing, which I attended, as we know, I covered the duration of Combs's criminal trial over the summer, he was very vocal about the fact that he had become sober while at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. He talked about how much this had changed his life and how he wanted to go and do better for his family, do better for society, and that he's actually been teaching these business classes while he was at MDC and wanted to continue to teach those at Fort Dix. So the idea that he would get into this prison, Tom, that has this rehabilitation program, and then he would go and drink hooch, this like homemade
yeah, did the prison consultant talk to you about how do they make this stuff?
So this is with, you might know, it's with sugar and I think Fanta, like a soda, and
wait, why would Sarah, why would you know, Sarah? You've been out there, you out there making some moonshine?
I was not behind bars drinking.
But this is something that is pretty common, Tom, but the idea that he would drink behind bars, especially while he's potentially seeking a pardon from President Trump, who
doesn't like drinking. But, you know, here's the thing, though. He was white knuckling. I mean, he intended not to.
And shout out to, man, one of the greatest investigative reporters I know, Dennis Byron, stopping by in the chat. He said, man, y'all stop the cap. Stop playing. He said the alcohol story is not true. I'm not buying it either. Diddy knows it's just a very short matter of time before he gets out. I was saying and estimating maybe a year and a half. Some people are saying 2027 plus. But yeah, if Dennis Byron says it and calls it right as he has on most of everything in this Diddy trial, I believe I'm going to take his word for it. He said the alcohol story is not true. I'm with Dennis on this one too.
He intended to do better, but he never was in a program. This is his first shot at actually getting rehabilitation.
Well, Sarah, I wanted to ask you about that because it looks like there's almost more eyes on him now post-trial. He's now gotten into trouble twice. I know he'll have his due process, but you have the drinking allegations, you have the three-way call allegations. I mean, this is not good for somebody who wants to get out of prison sometime soon.
It's not at all, but I also think, I wonder, Tom, how much he's thinking, I've got 2 pending appeals, my conviction and my sentence. He thinks he has a really good shot
of just getting out.
Of just getting out, and so this is all a wash. I mean, I don't know to what extent this is sort of this callous sort of thinking on his part, or he just is an addict.
And you were telling me today he's writing a book.
And he's writing a book, which could cause him more problems under the Son of Sam law in New York. If he's monetizing on his crime.
This is all absolutely terrible if true. I mean, Combs made such a big deal about wanting to go to Fort Dix. He's trying to get out sooner than the 50 months in prison, Tom. The idea that he would be violating rules left and right within 2 weeks of getting there is really unfathomable after, again, listening to him cry and sob in front of the judge just recently saying, I want to do good, I'm sober, and I want to be released to go home to my family. So again, and like you said, President Trump, he doesn't like drinkers, okay? He doesn't drink himself. His brother was an alcoholic, and so he has very strong opinions about that. He's talked about it. And if Diddy's seeking a pardon from President Trump before the new year, this is not a good look.
All right, we're going to have
not a good look. And again, a pardon is possible. We're going to talk about the president pardoning some people here shortly in another video. But I think, again, Dennis Byron makes some great points. He said them inmates trying to get commissary on their books. I mean, imagine the games that are played, even inside a nicer facility like Fort Dix. Think of the games that could be played threatening or being able to use this man Diddy, who has a lot of power, who has a lot of influence in certain ways. Now that he's there, I mean, who knows what could be going on? This rumors could have been started by an inmate just to show, hey man, you better act right, help a brother out, or things might be difficult for you in some ways other than not. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. I'm personally not buying it, but I know a lot of the Diddy haters out there might. Let me know what y'all think. And again, shout out to the gang in here. Dennis Byron is in the building. Y'all make sure you go support that man. Go check out his channel. He has some great content. Follow him on X as well. He has been covering all of this Diddy situation on his X account. He's been covering it on YouTube and doing a great job there. Dennis says, I saw Fani yesterday with her bodyguards.
Stop the cap.
Dennis, you know I got smoke for Fani. We're going to talk about Fani coming up here in a few. Yeah, I'm gonna try and leave Fani alone for right now. We got a segment coming up for Fani WIllis here shortly. But before we do, thank you again to all 6,000 of you who are in here. Make sure you like the video on your way in. I'm gonna keep begging and asking for likes the entirety of the show, because likes are free and it takes less than a second to do. It helps us out a lot too. So y'all go ahead and like the video. And good morning to everybody just joining us too. I see so many of y'all jumping into the building. I appreciate it. Let's talk about Karen Read. As y'all know, Karen Read is the gift that keeps on giving. And with the Karen Read trial coming to a close and the civil trial pending, we covered a lot of that here on the channel. We're actually going to now find out who the jury foreman was from the Karen Read trial, and we're going to get some more details and information from him about what actually went down, what he was seeing, and then he's going to double down on putting pressure on the Commonwealth to go after the real killer and the real murderer of John O'Keefe. Check this out.
Up with everybody lying to her.
After years of speculation, weeks of testimony, and 2 trials, he was the one who officially declared Karen Read not guilty in the murder of John O'Keefe. The jury foreman is opening up now about reaching a verdict and the critical piece of evidence that swayed the jury. Brandon Truitt reports.
Speaking to a room full of criminal justice students, Charlie DeLoach made the case that the justice system is flawed, sharing his up-close and personal experience with one of the biggest trials in the country.
What say, is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Millions watched as the verdicts were read that ultimately freed Karen Reed. But that unseen voice uttering the jury's decision belongs to Charlie DeLoach.
It was intense because before I got to the last not guilty, the crowd erupted. It was already cheering like it was a basketball stadium outside.
Speaking to a room of criminal justice students at Fisher College on Thursday, DeLoach says despite 31 days of testimony and hundreds of pieces of evidence, his mind was made up early.
I didn't take one note. I didn't have to after the first witness. It was just like, oh, okay. I see where this is going.
DeLoach believes there was some kind of cover-up. He takes issue with investigators never entering the Canton home and thinks overall the testimony was weak, except that of John O'Keefe's mother.
She was broken up already trying to even talk about her daughter who passed and also her son-in-law who passed away. And then seeing her really break down when she's talking about John.
When the jury was finally free to deliberate, DeLoach says all of them wanted to look at one piece of evidence, the taillight, and claims many jurors came to the conclusion it had been tampered.
And we heard testimony from Sergeant Barrows. We reviewed it just a couple of days ago saying, hey, when we picked up the car and we had it towed, that damage that you see on the taillight in these pictures was not there. It didn't happen that way. Something happened between when the car was towed and when the car was photographed in the Sally Port. So he said, I don't know what happened, but I know it didn't look like that.
This is way different than the taillight we seen on the Arca report.
And on Karen Reed's demeanor in court, DeLoach says it took him weeks to decode what he called a consistent snarl on her face.
So it was just a person that was just fed up with everybody lying to her.
And DeLoach believes that if the state used a lesser charge of manslaughter rather than murder, Reed could have been found guilty. It is his belief, though, that the person responsible for O'Keefe's death is still out there. In Boston, Brandon Truitt, WBZ News.
I mean, what do you mean alleged? The killer is still out there. Karen Reed was found not guilty of John O'Keefe's murder. What are we talking about? This is an unsolved murder. Karen Reed clearly wasn't guilty of John O'Keefe's murder, regardless of what the Karen Reed haters say. Someone murdered him. Somebody knows what happened to John O'Keefe. And it's most likely the people who were there at the time of his death know who that is or were involved. What do you mean? We know that somebody else did this. We're going to hear from the foreman again and give some more detail. And then what I'm going to do for you guys, we're actually going to rewind and go back to his first interview when he was unnamed at the time. And he talks exactly about what I just mentioned, why a lot of this didn't make sense, why he knew and felt like some of the information was missing. Too many people were hiding things. And then, of course, you're going to throw Proctor in here who says, oh, yeah, just pinning on the girl. Come on.
The Karen Reed trial jury foreman has now revealed his identity, and he wants investigators to find the person responsible for John O'Keefe's death.
Yeah, not only that, he's giving us an in-depth look at what happened behind closed doors. NBC 10's Eli Rosenberg joining us live from the newsroom. Eli, a lot of new information came out of this conversation.
Yeah, it was very informative, JC and Glenn, talking with this jury foreman, including just how intense those deliberations were, what the jury thought about those witnesses, what exactly happened that day in June when a verdict was reached.
During the trial, I just was waiting and just looking for that aha moment, and there was none to make her guilty at all. It was just always like, oh, that witness sucked.
He was juror number one, Charlie DeLoach, the jury foreman in Karen Reed's second murder trial, giving us our most in-depth look yet inside deliberations in a case that continues to attract worldwide attention.
I was open-minded. I was willing to listen to both sides. If she hit him or if there is corruption, and then the corruption outweighed her hitting him with the car.
What say you is the defense?
Yeah, and guys, can we please remember that the burden of proof is on the prosecution? If the prosecution's not doing their job, if they're not showing clearly for a jury of your peers to understand that you committed this crime, then they should just retire. They have the burden of proof. They have to make it clear, understandable, and beyond a reasonable doubt that this person committed the crime. And they weren't even close. I mean, think of the way that the Commonwealth rested their case here. We could go back to it and see. Absolutely terrible, start to finish. And this man, Charles DeLoach, said he heard the first witness. He's like, dang, these witnesses, they're trash. What are we even doing here? There's people hiding stuff. There's people who were saying they weren't involved, that were clearly involved. Come on, man. Come on.
Defendant of are guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Reed was found not guilty on 2 of 3 charges, including the most serious, second-degree murder and the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. O'Keefe's body was found outside a Canton home in late January 2022. Reed's first murder trial ending in a mistrial. DeLoach addressing students at Fisher College in Boston on Thursday, saying the jury came in with open minds, but struggled with the prosecution's case.
That's a lie. That's a lie. And it was just witness after witness after witness. And the only credible person I could say was probably Mrs. O'Keefe. The case was leaning one way, and it kept on leaning one way, and up until the very end.
He said the only credible person was Mrs. O'Keefe, but with all due respect to Peggy, why did she call the girls to her house to have a meeting before they talked to the police? And make sure they all got on the same page and had their stories right. Nah, Peggy had something going on too. So with all due respect to the foreman, I think we did take a lot of notes here, and Peggy wasn't clear cut either. Clean cut, I should say.
And just a small portion of the conversation earlier today with the foreman, who went on to say he thinks the jury may have actually reached a different verdict on the most serious charge of manslaughter had it been manslaughter and not murder. He adds the jury really hasn't talked much considering everything they went through, though, in those deliberation rooms. They, too, plan to get back together soon.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see as well. And I told you guys I wanted to do a little bit of rewind and go back to where the foreman, he spoke about the entire experience with the Karen Reed trial right after it happened and right after it went down. He spoke with Good Morning America and had a couple interesting things here I want to point out and let y'all listen to in case you missed it. Check this out.
Karen Reed is innocent, and she didn't do this crime. No one could prove that she did this crime, so I looked at her from day one as an innocent woman that needed to be proven guilty, and I don't think any of that was shown in this process.
Sir, to that point, if she didn't do it, who did?
It's not his job.
That's not my job. So, I mean, something did happen to Mr. O'Keefe, and it's foul play or whatever you want to say, but there was no evidence to even, through multiple witnesses and testimony by his autopsy and everything, there was still no one said to solid evidence that there was a collision or he got hit by a car.
So you don't think she actually hit him with the...
everybody...
You don't think she hit him with the car at all?
No, go ahead.
You don't think she hit him with the car at all?
No. No, I don't. Not with the evidence that was put in front of me and what we heard over everything. No, I don't.
Were you aware of just how high profile this case was? There were throngs of people outside in front of the courthouse. I know the jury officers, kept you away from that, but there was a big scream at the end when the verdict was read that was audible in the courtroom. How much did you know about that, and how much, if anything, did that have to do with your process, your deliberations?
I was just going to go with whatever evidence showed us. If it was finding her guilty or finding her not guilty, and we were just going to go with the evidence. And at the end of the day, when I came in on Monday, I established to everyone, I just want everyone to feel
like they're heard 100%, their thoughts, their process is being heard also in that process. And everyone felt at the end of the deliberations that everyone felt good about the decision that we all collectively came together with. So
yeah, and shout out to this man. Shout out to Charles. Excellent jury foreman. This is the type of man you want. This is the type of man you want on your jury. Absolutely amazing. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. We got to protect this man at all costs because he is not afraid to put the heat on the CPD, on the BPD, on Morrissey, on Commissioner Cox, just like Alan Jackson is, and so many others. Because this case, let's be real, it should have never been brought the first time. Definitely shouldn't have been brought the second time. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. Thank you to all 9,000 of you that are in the building. And also, we did have a super chat. Shout out to my awesome, amazing Amy here. Gifted 5 memberships. If you got a membership from the awesome, amazing Amy, make sure you say thank you. Check out the members only content. Your name is now highlighted in that beautiful green. You get an opportunity to check out all the videos we drop here on the channel instantly. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until they're published. You can watch them right away. Also, Amy does have a YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go check it out. We were watching some of her amazing videos on a premiere earlier this morning. So if you missed that, go back and binge watch her entire channel, like the video, comment, and do all that, and subscribe so you don't miss any time that she drops a new video or premieres of one as well. So shout out to Amy for all that you do. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Amy. Man, she helps out with the production of the show. Does so much behind the scenes. It's absolutely amazing at everything she does. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna keep it moving because, as I said to y'all, we have a lot of topics that we have to get into today. I'm not even gonna tell y'all how many topics because it might be intimidating, but let me see here. I'm gonna go ahead and update this. I haven't heard this entire thing, but I definitely think y'all are going to find this interesting. Oh, excuse me. I had to sneeze. Y'all are definitely going to find this interesting because we talked about Alicia Andrews and everything that went down with this Julio trial. And now we have an interview with her, one of her attorneys. Hold on. Sneezes are getting me. God bless you as well, Amy. Thank you so much. Yeah, and if y'all missed Amy's video from this morning, please make sure that you go check it out. All right, I'm going to try and behave myself on this one. But y'all know we covered the entire Julio trial part 1 because this is going to be a 5-part series. As y'all know, there are several other people involved, including Alicia Andrews' alleged baby daddy, Isaiah. But Alicia Andrews, she was recently found guilty, and y'all know the charges. We reviewed it at length here on the channel. She's going to be sentenced here coming up in several weeks. And this is actually an interview. Shout out to Taylor Umbridge for posting this over on a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to the full interview in the description for y'all, so y'all can go over there, check her out, and show her some support. Make sure if you do go over there, tell her that I sent you as well. So she's interviewing Jeremy and she's interviewing Aaron, and they're going to talk about what went on during the Alicia Andrews trial, some of the issues that they ran into, and how they felt about the entire process. We know we read their motion that they filed against the judge, the petty motion, basically saying, hey, the judge shouldn't have been on this case. The judge was biased. The judge was mean to us. And I think they're just doing the best for their client. So can't be mad at them. Let's see what Jeremy has to say here.
What were your anticipated challenges? Just knowing the charges that she had when you first got on or roped into and you were like, okay, I'm getting ready to go in here. What was the biggest concern that you had?
Me or Arian?
Either one is fine.
You want to? I'll take it first.
Go ahead.
My instinct led me to believe, and it was right, that just the cultural differences, right? The finding a jury that could understand culturally what was happening and not brush it off as just simply gang violence. There's more nuances to what was going on. So I thought one of the biggest issues was going to be people in the courtroom that mattered, the judge, the jury, The prosecution, not so much, because, you know, it doesn't matter what it actually means. It's more about how they present it. But getting a jury and having a judge that would be willing to understand the nuances of the culture.
So let's talk about the jury. Are you able to share what the jury makeup was?
What do you guys think about that statement? Obviously, that would be a typical concern of an attorney, but talking about the cultural aspects of something like this seems somewhat irrelevant in my case, other than just looking at someone's skin color and making a decision based on that. Because I don't know about y'all when it comes to culture, but I don't even want to go down this route, but as a black man, what happened here is not a part of my culture. So what culture is she talking about? Because every piece of evidence and everything that was shown in this case, when it comes to culture, maybe if you want to talk about rap culture, if you want to talk about gang culture, hopefully I pray that she's not talking about black culture in general. What do you want on the jury? I mean, do you want a bunch of rappers? Do you want a bunch of black people that maybe have somebody who they know that's in gang culture? Do you want someone who's white and maybe has someone who had a relative that was locked up because they were involved in gangs? I'm not going to nitpick, but I want to know what y'all think about that statement, because I think it's very interesting and telling about how this case was run by the defense.
Culture.
So let's talk about the jury. Are you able to share what the jury makeup was?
Yeah, so there were 2 Latino people on the jury. The rest were white.
And one of the Latino persons was white. Yeah, Latino.
Was white representing Latino. Yeah. Yes.
So after
they're talking about black folks.
The jury was chosen, like, how did it make you feel going into day one or opening arguments? Like, once that was said.
I'll say while we were picking the jury, the ones that we had on our minds, the ones that we wanted to keep, if we kept a lot of the ones that we thought we would get or would have, we would have been okay. It would probably been like split. But as we kept going through the jury selection process and the prosecution would strike some people that we wanted, some people of color and whatnot, at the end we realized when we looked at all the 12 that we ended up picking that we had basically an all-white jury. And you know, we fought to have other people on the jury. We fought to have a black woman on the jury. We fought to have some other people on the jury. But you know, the prosecution to get 10 strikes, peremptory strikes, which are just, you get to use these strikes for whatever reason, really. And they used them to get some of the people off. And we didn't have a whole bunch of, you know, colored people, black people, however you want to call it, Hispanic people on the jury to begin with, in the pool of individuals to begin with. So it's like slim pickings, and then they have enough peremptory strikes to just get rid of everyone. So when we saw the makeup, it was like, I thought we was gonna have a little bit of a better shot, but you know, we got to work with what we can work with, because even though a lot of the people were white, it was some of them were okay, meaning like they were at least fair. And if we could get fair jurors to listen to the case, then we should be okay, is what our mindset was. So long as they can be fair, because so long as they're fair, there's an even playing field, and all we got to do is do our job, which we know we're going to do, and then we go from there.
Yeah, so I would be interested to know, based on how this trial went, what they believe the cultural aspects of this case that was missed or potentially missed by the jury. Because again, I could just be seeing it through the lens of how I was raised, how I grew up, being a black man, and just some of this stuff I can already see without even thinking about it. So maybe I need to ask somebody who's not black and who doesn't understand this culture. But looking at what she was found guilty of, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, even as a black man, I thought she got lucky. So I don't know if Jeremy's saying he believes, as maybe he does, that his client should have been found not guilty of all charges, because looking at the facts and the evidence of this case, looking at what the charges were, I thought Alicia Andrews was going to be found guilty of second-degree murder. Honestly, and I said, I'm on record saying it. I was watching it several other places and said it. So I'm just curious to know from his legal experience, what part does he think was missed by the jury that led them to giving her or finding her guilty of what they found her guilty of? Because I was looking at the evidence. I'm like, man, she's about to get second-degree murder.
Yeah. Because really picking a jury is a gamble. It's always a gamble, right? And you obviously want people that can relate to your client. But the idea that, I mean, we wanted a diverse jury, of course, but there were, non-white people in the pickings that we did not want on the jury too. So it was, I will say this, the second time around, because we had, we kind of started the process a little bit in August. This set of jurors was, I believe, much more diverse than the first time.
Okay. So when it was set in stone, did it change your strategy at all as far as how you were going to attack this case or present it in front of them?
I doubt it.
I would say no. It did not, because we kind of expected the makeup of the jury, maybe not as it was exactly, but we didn't expect to have an all-black jury.
Yeah.
We're not trying a case in Wakanda, so we never expected to have an all-black jury or people that were all culturally sound and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it didn't really change, and we accounted for those issues that we knew would come up. We accounted for them in jury selection. So the process of jury selection, which people don't get to see, right? We're asking particular questions of the panel, of the people that are there, so that we can weed out who would be very, very bad for Alicia and for the case. So certainly all the people that were terrible for her, we got all those people off the jury. Yeah. So it didn't change when we saw what the jury was or what the makeup of it. It didn't change our theory. It didn't change the way we would defend the case. We knew that was, a possibility.
Yeah.
So what's the
issue?
And
see, I don't think that everybody kind of understands that, like, the entire process of trial, like once it gets started, the strategy begins. And I think just as people were watching the trial, the defense's strategy wasn't super clear to them, which made them criticize heavily. So can we?
You think that's what made them criticize heavily?
I think.
No. What made us criticize heavily is y'all was over there asleep. I'm sorry, man. This was not a great case. I don't think it was defended well. Y'all said the same thing in the comments. And it's funny, we mentioned this even in their motion to disqualify the judge in this case. They left out a lot of comments of what people were saying about this defense team and how maybe it felt like they didn't do the greatest job defending Alicia.
I think a little bit of it. I think it's a little bit, right? I think there's
I got different thoughts, but let's go with that. Let's start there.
Okay, we'll start there. Okay, fair compromise. I think part of it was not understanding what the defense's strategy was. What can you tell us about what strategy you guys chose to pick?
So I'll say this much, like from the public's perspective, I think the state wasn't sure about what our strategy was sometimes too. And that's kind of the point, right? Like, I don't think that the main strategy in a trial is always to pull out the pieces of information that will allow you to argue what you need to argue in the end, right? That's kind of the core. That's why you question witnesses, why you ask specific questions. But the idea that it wasn't very clear, I think is not, it was more so because of the way the state put on their case and some of the things that the judge allowed to be put in front of the jury. A lot wasn't clear. Particularly Alicia's role in any of this wasn't clear. So I think a lot of the confusion actually came from just the large amount of information that was put before that jury that was not relevant to the actual facts of the case.
I can see some of that because even as we were watching it here, there were certain points where I was like, okay, guys, I get what you're saying, but what does this have to do with Alicia? What about Alicia? What about Alicia? And they were able to build it up and show how Alicia was clearly involved. They show messages she sent. They show how she felt about Fulio. They saw the people she was around wanting to go on the trip, being involved and helping with acquiring a place for them to stay. We're not done. I mean, we know what was going on.
That's just my thought.
So when we talk about the amount or the evidence that was put in front of the jury, I mean, I think it was conflated. There was a lot of evidence about things that she absolutely didn't do. And I'm just a law student. I don't know too much, right? So literally this trial is starting on Monday. The Monday of the week the trial starts. We're talking about conspiracy in class. So I'm like, oh, let me watch this trial because I got something to relate this to for my midterm, for my final, for my final. And so when you talk about like things that just were not relevant, what exactly was the state supposed to prove?
Oh, I'm going to pause it here and we're going to get into that in the next video. Let me know what y'all think about this so far. The culture thing, as even Dennis Byron mentioned in the chat, it's kind of bothering me because this case isn't necessarily about culture specifically here. It's about what does the evidence show? And clearly, according to a lot of you in the chat, myself and the jury, the evidence showed that not only was Alicia involved, but she had intentional actions that helped them plan this entire situation. So let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. Are they just making excuses, or do they have a point when it comes to everything Alicia Andrews had to go through? The culture thing, it's weird. Like, what does it have to do with this case? There was this girl, Alicia Andrews. She was close to this man, Isaiah. Isaiah was the one who acquired the guns, got the guns, set up the trip. Alicia helped with this. She let him use her phone. She knew they were there for a reason. What else do we need? I think the attorneys dropped the ball and were not prepared, nor did they do a good job representing her. Culture was a deflection. I mean, if it's a cultural thing, why not come to the jury and say, hey, listen, some of y'all might not know about the culture, but here's how the culture is. What happens is you have this person, you have this girl. What are we talking about culture? Again, y'all have to let me know. I don't see where culture has anything to do with this case specifically. Where was culture here? No, it was some guys that had beef with another guy. There was this girl that was involved either willingly or unwillingly. Did the defense show that she was unwillingly involved? No. Did the state show that she was involved? In my opinion, yes. In the opinion of the jury. So I don't know what we're doing here. Let's get back into this. Again, shout out to Taylor Umbridge for posting this interview with Alicia Andrews, her defense attorneys. If you want to watch the full video, I'll leave a link in the description to y'all so you can go and check that out. We're going to hear more from them about moving forward in the case once they got through jury selection, some of the challenges that they saw during the case and what they tried to do to overcome that. I think Alicia Andrews got lucky. I think she could have, and according to the evidence, should have gotten a higher conviction, but she got lucky. The jury saw it differently, and here we are. Let's see what they have to say.
Jeremy, you want to take this?
I was waiting on you to answer it. But you said the last part. You said what exactly was what? I didn't catch that.
What did they need to prove? What did the state need to prove?
Oh, so they had two charges against Alicia, right? One was conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and the other one was first-degree murder. So what they have to prove is, and they charge her as a principal, right? So it means you didn't actually commit the crime, the actual underlying crime. You didn't do the shooting that caused the death, but because you intended for that result to happen and you did some act to help the people who actually did it, we're going to charge you as though you did the actual act. So they have to prove those things. They got to prove that she intended for the end result to happen and that she did something, some act with the intent for that act to cause the killing, right? That's for the principle to first-degree murder. Now, the conspiracy, they got to prove something similar, but they got to prove that she conspired with these individuals, that she had a meeting of the minds with them to go ahead and do this. So that was the two things that they had to prove in the two different charges, and they really didn't prove that throughout the trial.
Did you all?
Yes, they did. Man, we saw the conversation she had with Isaiah. She was there walking around, asking him what he was doing, where he was going. She said, I want to go. What? Come on.
Like plan to handle the conspiracy and the murder trial, murder charge different, or was it just the same goal, same strategy to isolate Alicia from her co-defendants?
So I think in this particular, you can't separate them because she doesn't have any direct involvement, and all of this is about the conspiracy, the idea that she was a part of some agreement and acted in a way that was not explicit as far as like the shooting. So I don't think you can separate them at all. I think they're required to be together because of how they alleged that she was involved in the crime.
Yeah, and it's when you're a defense attorney, the best defense is the simplest one. Mm-hmm. So if you start dividing up the counts and you start saying, well, this is the excuse for why she should be found not guilty for this one, and there's another excuse or reason for this one, and you start making the jury think too much and having to put too much stuff together, it makes it more complicated for them, and you're likely to get a guilty verdict. But ours was simple. She wasn't involved. She didn't have any knowledge of this stuff, and so if you don't have knowledge, you're not involved. How can you intend to do anything? How can you agree to do something if you're just not involved? So we remove her from the situation, rightfully so, and you don't have a conspiracy. You don't have a first-degree murder because she's not involved.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the common theme, right? In
I don't know
everybody's
about
chat,
that
in
one.
everybody's videos. Like, she absolutely had to know. Like, there has to be a point of knowing. And as a content creator, I think that when I was kind of watching it, I was like, yeah, I feel like there was a point where maybe she could have known, or maybe she should have known. I don't think that the thought that came behind it for me was that it doesn't matter in the defense attorney's eyes because they got to prove it. I don't think that landed with everybody else. And so when you are having, or you're in such a high profile case where social media has a lot to say, how does that impact you while you are actually advocating for your client?
Well, this is my first, I don't want to speak for Jeremy, but this is my first high profile, media type where everything is being recorded sort of case. We're not blind, right? Like we see, and I know from personal experience in covering these kind of trials that there is information to be learned by understanding how the public is viewing what's going on, right? So we're not blind. We didn't turn off social media and not see it at all, but for sure it wasn't a focus of our defense, right? Like I was making this joke, and I've been making it every day that I see comments about this trial. They don't segregate people on the internet, right? Like the critical thinkers, they get to comment with the trolls and the clout chasers. They all are in the same comments. So.
Man, this pit, I can't do this. Why don't you guys just go to the judge and say, hey, judge, we want to institute a new rule. The defense team, they're allowed to go into a lab, talk to Elon Musk, we'll get it set up, and we're going to build our perfect juror. Then we're going to have 12 of them. Heck, we'll even get 14 just in case one of the batteries dies. We're going to get 14 of our perfect jurors, and we're going to have them sit on the jury. What are we even talking about here? Oh, well, you got ignorant people. You got people that don't understand. You got trolls, and then you got the smart ones. I cannot stand when defense attorneys take a loss in a case and then they come out with this rhetoric like, well, we didn't like the jury and we don't know people on the internet. There's ignorant people there. There are ignorant people on the jury. Like, come on. That's not how the system works. Y'all went to law school for a long time. You should know as a jury, your peers, and you don't get to pick the jury. What you do have to do is you have to present a good case to the jury. And clearly that didn't happen here. Man, come on.
So you have to be careful about what information you take in and be able to filter through it, because not all of it is valuable. But we live in an age where these trials are being recorded and our jurors are members of the public, right? So what people in the public and the way they're seeing it, it matters to a certain extent, because they're also not in the courtroom, right? So the way the camera shows what's happening in the courtroom is very different than what's actually going on inside the courtroom. And that's for sensation. That's the whole point of it. That's why the cameras are set up like that. But it was helpful, I guess, maybe in like the motion to recuse. It was beneficial to see that the public was taking note of some of what was going on. But I mean, that was the biggest.
Yeah, again, and with all due respect to Aaron, y'all left out a lot of comments about how the defense team was trash too, which I think maybe I did say they were trash at one point. I don't think they were absolute trash. I just don't think they handled and presented a good case here. I mean, they only called Alicia Andrews, which I think was a mistake. And that is it. That was the only witness that they called. So again, you're going to say that, oh, well, there's a mix of people in the comments. There's a mix of people who are wrong, which are the people who don't agree with us, and the people who are right, which are the people that were the smart ones and the ones that agree with us. You can't have it both ways. And then you're going to mention one-sided YouTube comments in the chat. Y'all need to show the whole chat, because they opened the door wide open for that one. And I hope, I cannot remember the judge's name in this one. We've seen her before. I hope this judge reaches out to me and is like, hey, can you find me some comments that say the defense team was garbage? Because the judge should be so petty in her response of their request for her to recuse herself on this one, and find other comments in the same exact live stream where people were saying this defense team is trash. This defense team's not defending her. Alicia Andrews is guilty. If I were the judge, I'd be like, oh, you want to go down this route? All right, I'm going to find you 20 pages of screenshots that say y'all didn't do a good job. There are parts of the case that were proven, but I know judges, they're not as petty as I am. Shout out to the honorable
I
judge.
would say maybe help. Negatively, I know who I am. I know Jeremy knows who he is. So that doesn't move me at all.
Yeah. What I'll add to that is that the first go round, we had like two stabs at this trial. The first one was in August, and then it got continued because the prosecutor got sick. But that time around, I did shut off my social media and all this sort of stuff because I just wanted to block out all the extra noise. The second time around, I did not do that because I had heard so much of the noise for the 2 months in between the first and the second trial that I was just like immune to it. You also realize that because the trial is being shown on YouTube, on Instagram, and TikTok, these are platforms where everybody goes on to entertain themselves. So they're in the comments trying to entertain themselves and be the most entertaining person that is in the comment on any of these platforms. And so you got to realize that everyone that is saying something is really saying things so that they can have the funniest comment, that they can get the most likes on a comment, that they can get the most views on their videos. And so
what are we doing here?
You realize that, you're not on the Discovery Channel. So people aren't here to learn or to really digest what's going on. They're just there to have fun and entertain themselves. So it is what it is. But you look at, right, I would have people tell me, because I wasn't watching it while I was in the trial, but at the end of the day, I would have people tell me what people in the chats were saying, but not like the ignorant things, like the things that really could affect our case, things that are helpful to us, constructive.
Again, not the ignorant things, but the things that I liked. Man, bro, all right.
Criticism or feedback is what I was looking for so that I could fix those issues during the trial.
Yep, that was my next question. Did you receive anything that would have changed your strategy or the way that you approach the trial? So it sounds like
this is embarrassing, man. All right, I don't know if I could do this anymore. It's worse than deflecting. He's basically saying, yeah, I had people telling me and looking at the YouTube comments, and that helped me adjust my strategy for trial. What? Did y'all hear that? I'm surprised.
Tell me, because I wasn't watching it while I was in the trial. But at the end of the day, I would have people tell me what people in the chats were saying, but not like the ignorant things, like the things that really could affect our case, things that are helpful to us. Constructive criticism or feedback is what I was looking for so that I could fix those issues during the trial.
Yep,
constructive criticism from YouTube comments, from people who a lot of the time you don't know who they are. Okay. You are not a lawyer and sound ignorant, ClassE. Well, I could potentially and have been a juror. So I don't have to be a lawyer to comment on the trials. You know why? Because everybody who was on that jury was not a lawyer either. So I may sound ignorant. That's fine. I probably am. I'm ignorant of the law in some instances. That's true. But at the end of the day, I can still look at this and come to a conclusion as someone who may have been on the Alicia Andrews jury. And you know what? Put aside anything that I think. What did the jury in this case, the ones who have the ones who have a say, the ones who have a decision in what happens to Alicia Andrews, what did they say? Don't listen to me. Just listen to them.
That was my next question. Did you receive anything that would have changed your strategy or the way that you approach the trial? So it sounds like if it was constructive, you took that in, which is great.
For the lawyers out there, would y'all, if you were covering a trial that was televised in this way, would you take YouTube comments and listen to what people are saying and adjust your strategy for that? Because again, hey, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know what I would do if I were an attorney because I'm not. I want to know what y'all think. And I want to check the comments and we'll revisit them from some of the attorneys in the chat.
I think social media is a blessing and a curse as well. So I'm glad that you were able to find some silver lining in it because the comments were nasty.
And we should talk about that. We should get into that a little bit. I don't know how deep you want to get, but
well, Arian, you have the floor.
Well, let me answer a question though, because a lot of people were asking this question. And I find it so interesting because I don't know what else she would be doing. But somebody in the comments asked, why was Alicia writing so much? And a lot of people were asking that during the trial. And I it's just so interesting to me because I don't know. Well, like, what do people expect her to be doing? This is her trial. She's taking notes. She's helping us. She's assisting in her trial. So we obviously, as a defense, have the benefit of having the person sitting next to us that knows the most about like some of the things that, they're trying to put in front of us. So Alicia was writing because she was assisting in her trial, y'all. That's what she was doing. And I saw a lot of comments like that. But I guess I just wonder what y'all expected her to be doing.
Yeah, people are a little oblivious to how this stuff should work. I mean, she definitely was helping us. Like when the state puts up on a board 30 gang members for just one gang or whatever, and they start going through the individuals and saying who this person is and who that person is, and they start saying how this person is from 1200 or whatever. Like Alicia is there and able to tell us who this person is. This person grew up with me. This person went to.
And I think it's important that I put this in the chat, but I'm going to say this on the video. I'm going to read exactly what I said. I said feedback after the trial is fine. But me personally, I don't want my attorney adjusting their strategy based off of YouTube comments. If you're sitting there and your attorney leads over to you and say, hey, ClassE, you know what I was thinking? I was watching Law and Crime last night, and the people are saying, you know, we're not really coming across that relatable. So what I want you to do, I want you to take off your nice shirt. I want you to get a chain. I'm going to get this permanent marker. I'm going to put a couple teardrops right here. We're going to fix you. That's what they're saying on YouTube. So we're going to change it. It makes sense. Man, I'd be like, Your Honor, can we have a mistrial or something here? I need a new attorney. It's just me.
This person is dead. This person, I don't even know this person. Like, I've never had a relationship with this other person. Like, they're lying that they're doing this. So she's writing the things down to give us, commentary on what is actually being shown the jurors. The state, they were sloppy. They were like, oh, you're in a relationship with this guy. And they put the picture up and like, this guy's in 1200s. And she's like, no, that's my cousin.
That was funny.
It's like things like that she's writing down on the paper. Like, they're putting up all this stuff. They don't even know what they're putting up. And the judge is just letting it in, and she's there to help us weed through some of the stuff, right? Like, I think people, they're like, oh, why is she writing so much? Well, what do you want to do? Just stare into space? She's on trial for her life. She can write if she wants to write. And the other thing is, like, people talking about her smiling throughout the trial and whatnot. You got to remember, the camera is focused on her, like, solely on her. So every time she makes a gesture of facial expression, laughs or whatever, they're picking it up. The jury is not able to see everything that she's doing. She was buried behind myself and another attorney to my left. So the jury couldn't see her making these expressions or doing any of these things that the people on YouTube could see her doing. And I'm not saying that to say that she should have been smiling more or she smiled just enough or whatever. But there were points during the trial, and there will always be this in any trial that I try, where I talk to the client or another attorney talks to the client, and we break some of the tension with, just a joke or whatever. And maybe not the funniest joke in the world, but like, if I say, did you see this? And she's like, and I say, okay, look, well, they're going this direction. That's exactly where we thought they would go. And we're going to be able to corner them on this issue. And I'll look at her, she'll look at somebody else, and she'll smile because, like, we see good things happening in the trial. So it's just like things happen. She smiles about it. And sometimes those smiles could be like nervous smiles, but it wasn't a big deal to the jury because they didn't even see, what was going on.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let me know what y'all think about this. We're going to move on from this topic. But I hear a lot of excuses and not enough, and maybe they get into it later in the interview, about the case that they presented and what they were able to dispute during cross-examination. Maybe we'll hear this at some point. I want y'all to go over there and support Taylor Umbridge. I'll leave a link to the full interview in the description so y'all could do that. Let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. Attorneys, is your new strategy, is your 2025 strategy taking YouTube comments during trial? Let me know what you think. But that's crazy. That is crazy. Can y'all imagine? Can y'all imagine a doctor has you on the operating table and they're live streaming your procedure, and someone in the YouTube comments says, hey, I don't know, it looks like a little too much blood there. Maybe the doctor should cauterize that some more. And doctor's over there, beep, beep, beep. Cautery? Yeah, we need to cauterize this a little bit more. Jimmy456 says, man, I don't know. Why didn't the doctor put a suture there? That's kind of crazy. What is he doing? Suture? I mean, can y'all not see the this is crazy to me. Again, it's a different profession, but still, this lady's life is at stake. If you make adjustments in the courtroom, you make adjustments on the reactions you're seeing from the actual jury, you make adjustments based on what you're hearing in court, the witnesses that are being brought up, how the judge reacts. But dear God, making adjustments based on YouTube comments? Hey, I'm not an attorney for a reason. I'm also not a doctor. So y'all just, well, I'm ignorant, right? Yeah, I'm ignorant. Let's keep it moving. We're going to get into Fani WIllis here. Shout out to the gang. Y'all are still sticking with me. My ignorant ass. Suture. We need some fluids here. Doctor, the procedure's over. I know, YouTube said it. Yeah, I am silly, y'all. We're just having fun up here. Hey, listen, I'm not going to be on trial like that, so I'm good. Yo, they can have that. Let's talk about one of my favorite topics on this show, the Honorable Fani WIllis. Let me see if I can find a picture of good old Fani. We're going to talk about what's going on with her. I can't do this channel no more good. Please make sure, hey, to anyone who's leaving the channel, y'all, please do me a favor. If you leave the channel, make sure you unsubscribe. I don't need a bunch of people. I don't need a bunch of people subscribed to the channel that aren't going to watch. So please, if you're not going to watch, just unsubscribe. So shout out to Christy. She's up out of here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping by for a minute. Please unsubscribe. Because, man, if y'all want to hurt this channel, the number one way you can hurt this channel is by subscribing and not watching any of the videos. So, hey, we good. Shout out to Dennis Byron. Said we cracking up over here. Well, I'm not on trial, and I won't be. So we good. Fani WIllis time. Well, Fani WIllis is back in the news, and y'all know if Fani WIllis is in the news, we're going to cover it here. As someone who's right here in Fulton County and paid Nathan Wade over $500,000, I don't want to think about it. We're going to talk about what's going on with Fani WIllis. Well, yesterday, there's supposed to be a hearing that Fani WIllis was going to show up for and testify. Fani WIllis said, hey guys, I can't make it. I got a dentist appointment and I won't be there. Then we find out that that everything was going to happen during this Senate hearing was moved or canceled, or we don't know what's going on. We're going to get into the details here shortly, but we're also going to find out a deadline that's coming up today. And actually 13 minutes ago, the deadline hit for them to find a new prosecutor for this election interference case, the case that Fani WIllis got kicked off of. So let's see what's going on here. And I'm actually going to check live to see if we have any updates on if they were able to assign a new prosecutor to this case. I don't think they will.
Today is the deadline to appoint a new special prosecutor to take over Georgia's election interference case. This case has been in limbo for nearly a year since District Attorney Fani WIllis was removed as prosecutor. Ariana Manise live this morning at the Fulton County Courthouse. And Ariana, this case has really been at a standstill for more than a year now, but today we could see some forward-moving action here.
Yeah, possibly. And that's what we'll be watching. As the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, they have until noon today. That's the deadline set by a Fulton County judge to select a new prosecutor to take over this case. Now, the reason they have to pick a new attorney is because District Attorney Fani WIllis was disqualified from moving this case forward by the Georgia Court of Appeals after defense attorneys revealed her romantic relationship with the former special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Then in September, the state Supreme Court effectively affirmed that disqualification decision. The case was then handed over to the Prosecuting Attorneys Council to appoint a new attorney to take over this case where President Trump and 18 others were charged with interfering with Georgia's 2020 presidential election results. Now, the group was granted more time to find a prosecutor by the Fulton County judge after the executive director cited how difficult it was to find a new attorney, citing how complex this case is and the caseload that the Attorneys Council already has, 20 cases that they have to find other prosecutors for. Now, if and when they do find a new outside counsel, that person has 3 decisions to make. They can either continue this case, move it forward as is, move forward with only certain charges, or dismiss this case entirely. Meanwhile, Willis was expected to testify before the state Senate committee investigating her use of public funds involving this case. And it just shows you how this case has remained at the forefront on multiple fronts. Now, that decision is expected to come down by noon. We'll bring you the latest if and when an attorney is selected, Jonathan.
Yeah, it will certainly be one to watch. So, Ariana, who exactly is responsible for picking this new special prosecutor?
Well, the executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia will select that outside counsel. He says the worst case, the last resort, is the Attorneys Council taking on and prosecuting this case themselves, but they said that is the last resort as they already have a heavy caseload.
Yeah,
back
but
to you.
You got to wonder if anyone else will want to take on the case. Some big questions ahead. Ariana, thank you so much.
Shout out to Ariana and 11 Alive News. Well, guys, I just ruined my own segment because we have breaking news here. It looks like they have chosen a new prosecutor for this case. Yes. Oh, and the drama gets interesting because not only did within the last 10 minutes they choose a prosecutor, but guess who the prosecutor is? Check this out. Shout out to ABC News for this article. New prosecutor chosen in the Georgia 2020 election interference case against Trump and others. Pete Skadakis. Pete S., who was leading the search, named himself to the position. A new prosecutor has been selected to take over the Fulton County, Georgia election interference case against President Donald Trump and others after District Attorney Fani WIllis disqualification. Oh, this is crazy. In a statement on Friday, the director of the agency tasked with finding the replacement said he has chosen someone new, himself. Pete S., the executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, said he chose himself to take over the case after he was unable to find someone else to accept the job. You think? This thing's going to get dismissed. Several prosecutors were contacted, and while all were respectful and professional, each declined the appointment, he said in a statement. The decision to assume responsibility from this matter was reached only after careful and deliberate consideration. Trump and 18 others pled not guilty in August of 2023 to all charges in a sweeping racketeering indictment for alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state of Georgia. The charges, which were brought following Trump's January 2nd, 2021 phone call in which he asked Georgia Secretary of State Brad R. to find the votes needed to win the state, alleged that the defendants solicited state leaders throughout the country, harassed and misled a Georgia election worker, and pushed phony claims that the election was stolen, all in effort for Trump to remain in power despite his election loss. The selection of the new prosecutor fell to the Attorney's Council after Georgia Supreme Court in September declined to take up Willis's appeal for her removal from the case over her relationship with one prosecutor on this case. We know that's Nathan Wade. Pete was facing a November 14th deadline to appoint someone new, or the case would face dismissal, according to an order from the Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee. Pete said he did not believe McAfee dismissing the case because of the missed deadline would be the right course of action. In a statement, Trump's attorney in the case, Steve Sadow, said, "This politically charged prosecution has come to an end. We remain confident that a fair and impartial review will lead to a dismissal of the case against President Trump, and I agree with Steve." Pete wrote in a statement that he had not had sufficient time to complete a review of the case files, saying he received 101 boxes of documents from the DA's office in late October and an 8 terabyte hard drive of case files just last week. Pete, let it go, man. Let it go. I mean, we're going to talk about a political play here in a second. He said that by appointing himself to the case, he can complete a comprehensive review and make an informed decision regarding how best to proceed with the case, whose future is still up in the air. My only objective is to ensure that this case is handled properly, fairly, and with full transparency, discharging my duties without fear, favor, or affection. Pete, are you going to be running for DA soon? I'm calling this one. Trump this week issued a sweeping pardon to all defendants in the Georgia election case and all other cases involving alleged 2020 fake elector plots, although the act was largely symbolic as Trump does not have the ability to pardon state charges. Last year, Pete took over the investigation into one of the defendants in the case, Burt Jones, after Willis was initially disqualified from investigating him. Pete also investigated accusations that Jones had acted as a fake elector for Trump before deciding not to bring criminal charges against him because Jones and his determination did not act with criminal intent. We see how this is gonna go, and let's talk about the political play here. Shout out to Pete. Pete has got his own back. Let me tell you the reason why I think Pete took this. Pete is going to review this. He's going to look at it. And he's going to get a phone call from somebody, I'm sure, at some point. Or let's not even go that far. He's going to look at it and he's going to say, you know, I looked at this case and I reviewed it thoroughly with discretion. And I see here that there was no wrongdoing. And what did he say at the end in the initial case against Mr. Jones? He said, I believe that the president did not act with criminal intent. Therefore, this case is dismissed. So, hey, shout out to Pete, man. Having his own back. I know what you're doing, Pete. Is Pete going to run for DA soon? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Well, again, with that being said, we still have some Fani WIllis news, even with that breaking news. In addition to that, as I mentioned, Fani WIllis said, oh yeah, I know I told y'all I was going to testify about what was going on with the Georgia project, but I decided that's not going to happen. And that may be one of the reasons that the Senate committee did not meet yesterday. Let's go ahead and get into this from News 12.
New today, Fulton County District Attorney Fani WIllis will not be appearing before the state Senate committee investigating the indictment of President Trump. Instead, the committee will hear from the executive secretary for the State Ethics Commission, David Amati. The hearing is focused on the new Georgia project organized by former lawmaker Stacey Abrams. For months, lawmakers have been attempting to force WIllis to testify as they focus on her finances, hiring practices, and relationship with Nathan Wade. Wade was the top prosecutor on the election indictment against Trump and his allies on the alleged attempt to overturn the 2020 election results. WIllis will now testify either December 17th or 18th.
Okay, so now let's see what's going on here with this. Shout out to Atlanta News First. They said Fulton County DA Fani WIllis not on the Senate committee's Thursday agenda. And that Senate committee actually got moved for some reason. After initially agreeing to testify before a state Senate committee investigation on her historic indictment of Donald Trump, Fulton County District Attorney Fani WIllis apparently will not be appearing before the committee on Thursday. Shocker. Instead, the agenda for the Senate Committee on Investigations indicate its members, the majority of whom are running for higher office in Georgia's nationally watched 2026 midterms, will hear from David Amati, the executive secretary of the State Ethics Committee. On Thursday, State Senator Bill Cowsert of Athens, who chairs the committee, said that Willis's attorney had a conflict with the November 13, 2025 hearing. He said Willis will testify either on December 17th or December 18th. Yeah, we'll see. Thursday's hearing focused on the now defunct New Georgia Project, an organization founded by former Democratic state lawmaker Stacey Abrams, who unsuccessfully ran for governor in 2018 and 2022. Thank God. For months, GOP lawmakers have been attempting to force WIllis to testify as they investigate her office finances, hiring practices, and relationships she had with Nathan Wade, the top prosecutor on the election indictment against Donald Trump and his allies, President Donald Trump, WIllis has cited scheduling concerns as the reasons for not scheduling a date for her testimony, and lawmakers have previously said they're prepared to get more heavy-handed with the legal system if she doesn't. Bruh.
Stop the cap.
Come on, Bill. Bill, I've been begging Bill to just make this lady show up. Sanctions, something. Subpoena's not going to work because she didn't show up at the last Senate hearing. Come on, man. Why are we in good faith just letting this lady just assume that she's going to show up? The panel can't bring charges itself, but a judge ruled late last year that they do have the power to issue subpoenas and compel testimony. They can sanction her, from what I understand as well. I'm not a lawyer. Take that for what it is. Willis is being represented by former Georgia Governor Roy Barnes, who has contended the Senate committee does not have the absolute power to subpoena her, which they do. In August of 2021, Willis handed up a historic series of indictments against President Trump, accusing him and 17 of his GOP allies, including former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, of engaging in a criminal conspiracy to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. That election saw former President Joe Biden defeat President Trump in Georgia by less than 17,000 votes. Those people were sitting on their couch on election day. Trump could have won Georgia. On his way to the White House, Biden became the first Democrat since Bill Clinton in 1992 to carry Georgia or any other deep Southern state. But a since acknowledged romantic relationship between Willis and Nathan Wade threw the case into an entirely new political and judicial spectrum. And now that Trump has become the 47th president, Willis, who was reelected in her own right on election day, and her prosecution was faced with even more uncertainty. So what do y'all think about this? What's going to happen moving forward? I got to know what y'all think about Pete taking this himself. He said, okay, nobody volunteers. I got this election interference case. You know, we're going to keep track of it here, and I'll keep y'all up to date on what's going on. Let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat. Oh, man. Pete, what are you thinking, man? Is this a political move by Pete out here doing his thing? Shout out to Pete, man. And also shout out to Amy. She dropped the 5-bomb and said, oh, for Pete's sake. Hey, listen, man. Pete, he's trying to get into the good graces of the president. Y'all know this country is going to be red for the next 8 years, most likely. So Pete said, let me make some friends here real quick. Mr. President, I'm going to review everything, and we're going to make sure you're good and taken care of. Thank you, Amy, for the love. Shout out to Amy for dropping the 5-bomb too. Fani is above the law, period. Only the little people get in trouble for this behavior. That is unfortunately true. I believe they are all under the same umbrella. That is also true. Fani Willis is going to keep running amok as much as she possibly can. I don't think this is Fani Willis's last stop either. Court or dentist? Tough choice. No, it's easy. That's an easy choice. You go to the dentist, of course. I mean, I think we all would make that decision. Hey, you have a choice. You get to go to the dentist or you got to show up for court. Nah, man, this tooth has really been bothering me. Get that fixed. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Let's move into our next topic because, y'all, we still have a ton of subjects to get to. Y'all should see the tabs I got open on this thing. We are up here cooking today, and we're going to get into this Mickey Stein situation. And I know my title is all jacked up, so I'm going to fix that here in a second. If y'all don't remember who Mickey Steins is, I'm going to give you a little bit of background and remind you of what took place in this situation. So we've been covering what's been going on with Mickey Steins and what happened between him and this judge. And there's been so many rumors about what was going on in the background, specifically a rumor about why Mickey Steins went into the judge's chambers. And, you know, y'all saw the video. If you didn't, we'll talk about it here shortly. But one of the alleged reasons, or one of the rumored reasons why Mickey Steins took out and deleted the judge is because, as we're going to hear from his daughter here, it's alleged that his daughter was involved, his wife was involved, and that the judge was running some weird ring of situation of stuff going on in his chambers at the jail. It's a whole situation. So now we finally get to hear from Mickey Steins' daughter, the one who was allegedly victim of this judge that was shot by her father. Y'all check this out. We'll hear what she has to say.
I come on here today to address a couple things about yesterday's video. When I posted that video, I only had about 950 followers.
Hold on a second. I played this out of order. Let me play this one first, because this is the video that she's referencing, and then we'll go back to that other video. Here we go.
My name is Lila Steins. I am 18 years old, and I am from Letcher County, Kentucky. Most of you may know me, and the others may recognize my last name.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
On September 19th, a little over a year ago, a lot of people's lives changed forever, including mine. I'm not going to go into detail. I will not be talking about it. But I just have one question. Do you all not have anything better to do than to sit and gossip?
Oh.
You are taking my pain and making it your pleasure.
Oh, my.
You're taking our stories and turning them into big entertainment pieces, jokes, and for that matter, you're making it your income. Since when did that become okay?
Dang, I feel attacked.
So my advice to the people doing that, get a job, do something meaningful with your life, and contribute to society in a positive way. That's all.
Wow. Oh, I feel attacked there. Dang, I guess I gotta quit YouTube now. Jeez. But again, I don't think in this situation, we made a joke about it. It's important for us to report and understand what's going on in the news, because a lot of this is going to be covered. This trial is going to be covered. And if that's the case, I mean, then we need to change the laws on Rule 22s and where these trials can be broadcast. But dang, I don't know what I said, but I feel kind of attacked here. So she had a follow up to that video.
Today to address a couple things about yesterday's video. When I posted that video, I only had about 950 followers. I did not think it would go anywhere. I thought, people from home's going to see it, maybe a couple others, and that'll be that. So the first thing I want to say is I had good intentions with that video. A lot of you were asking what stories, what do you mean by gossip? And what I mean by that is the stories that were made up about me and the other party. And that is where the gossip comes in at. I wasn't actually talking about the situation and what actually happened itself. I was more leaning towards the rumors that had been spread about me. I am aware of how serious this is and how much of a big deal it is. I was not talking about news or social media. I was simply talking about the people who sit at home behind a keyboard all day and say terrible things about my name. That's who I was talking about.
We're safe.
At the end of the day, I'm just human. I'm just trying to learn how to process and cope with it all. I do want to add one more thing. A lot of you were saying, girl, this happened a year ago. Like, why are you still going on about it? To you, it happened a year ago. For me, when I wake up, it's the first thing I see on my phone. It's the last thing I see when I lay down. And I'm not looking for it. It's just right in my face. I have to deal with it every day when I wake up. So no, it's not gone. It's not died down. It won't for a while.
Yeah.
I come on here to...
Yeah, hey, shout out to... I get it. Shout out to Lila. I get it. And again, thankfully, the YouTube channel is going to stay up. She wasn't talking about us. It seems like what she's saying is she had an issue with a lot of people that were there local. As she mentioned, she had very few followers after that video that she posted went viral and got over 2.2 million views. And there's a lot of conversation going around locally, and we've heard it in the news about what actually happened and why Mickey Steins went up there in the first place. She's been brought up in this. Her mother's been brought up in this. And I'm sure she was sick of people talking, walking down the street, especially if it's a small town, whispering and saying stuff behind her back. Now it's on a national level. I think she's very well spoken for an 18-year-old. And it's going to be interesting to hear her story because we know she's most likely going to be called as a witness once this goes to trial. And this trial is going to be something a lot of people are talking about. So let's get into this video from Law and Crime, where they're going to more of the background of what happened, give some inside look into what went down between Mickey and the judge in this situation.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. You know, it's been over a year since Mickey Steins, the sheriff of Letcher County, Kentucky, pulled out a gun in the chambers of his one-time friend, Judge Kevin Mullins, and shot him to death. It was shocking. Unbelievable, really. The entire shooting was recorded by a security camera.
Crazy.
We can't show that to you. It's just simply too gruesome and too graphic. Steins is charged with murdering a public official. He and Judge Mullins had actually been friends for years, and Steins worked for Mullins as his bailiff. The two men had had lunch earlier that day, and no one had said that anything was wrong.
It's crazy.
It has been said that Mickey was not himself for a few days. Mickey Steins' lawyer, he's been on Crime Fix here in the past and told you that Mickey feared that his wife and daughter had been taken for some reason when he shot Judge Mullins. Now, we don't know why he felt that way or what was said during their conversation in Mullins' chambers before the shooting. But after Steins was taken into custody, you could see how paranoid he was.
Come on, guys. No, come on now, guys. I'm not sticking nothing. No, now.
There's 2 body cams running, Mickey. It's all recorded and there's a digital recorder running. That will be, look, show you that it's running. Look.
Come on now, guys.
No, look, Mickey, we've known each other a long time. Look, it is recording. That one's recording. Clayton has a backup recorder running.
Oh, now, come on, guys.
What do you think?
Slow down.
We can't talk in the hallway of the courthouse, Mickey.
Yeah, there's
You know
people
that.
here. We don't want to.
I mean, there's people in that room, there's people in that room. Yeah. We can't do that.
So what's the problem?
I'll get another one. I'll put one on me. You want that? Let me, okay? But I can't be in the room.
Come on, Mickey. Is there somebody that you trust other than us that you would prefer to be with us? Mickey, we've known each other our whole lives. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I have no reason. Come on now, guys.
Mickey, you have to go. You have to be moved.
Fair.
You have to be moved at some point, Mickey. We've got 2 body cams running. We're not going to do anything to you.
Would you have a trial? Would you talk to us in the jail down there? Do you feel safe down there because there's cameras everywhere?
Wow.
Are you going to move me after the interview?
Bosses of hazard.
I'm not trying to dictate how it goes, guys. I know how this works. I'm not going to feel safe in a room here, but we're not going to hurt you, Mickey.
The only thing I could think of is, again, either Mickey had just one of the most insane mental breaks that we've seen, especially considering he had lunch with the judge earlier that day, or he had some real concerns that maybe there was some Canton, Massachusetts things going on here, and the guys that he was around were involved in what he thought the judge was doing. That is highly likely. And I mean, even you thinking to the situation with Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, Tyler being like, hey, I'm turning myself in. I just don't want to get shot. Why do people say that? In a lot of cases, maybe they just know too much information or they're crazy. Which one it is, we'll have to find out. We'll have to wait.
Just like Anthony, I've known you for 20 years, but we're not going to hurt you. That's why we have 2 body cams and a digital recorder running, Bub. I promise you.
I ain't got nothing.
I know that, but that ain't what we're worried about, Bub. We just can't talk in the hallway of the courthouse. Plus, there's people looking. We need to go somewhere out of here. And
pull my pockets inside out.
It ain't that bad.
No, pull my pockets inside out. Now, guys, y'all don't do me this way.
What do you think? We're going to do contraband? Okay, here. Here. I'm sorry. We're not going to do anything. That's the least of our worries, Buzz. Did you get that other one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So make you know, if we went down to the jail where there's cameras, if us 3 walked down there, and we was in cameras there, would you talk to us then? I mean, what is it you want? Explain that to us.
I don't think Mickey's crazy.
So, if we go down to the jail, I got my camera on, Clayton's got his camera on, we walk down to the jail where there's cameras going all the time. Will you talk to us there? Will you feel safe there? No, I'm not going to feel safe.
Now, later in the video, the topic of Mickey Steins' daughter comes up.
Do you want to talk at all, Mickey? Earlier you said you wanted to talk. Listen, Mickey, if you don't want to talk, that's fine. I ain't gonna force you to. Okay, we're not gonna force you. If you don't want to talk, that's your right. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I read you your rights. Well, and you know, you're the sheriff. I mean, you know just as much as we do. But it's up to you.
If I can see my daughter in person here
before you leave. Is that what you want?
At the jail.
At the jail.
Yeah. At the jail, through the screen, on the phone, I want to see my daughter in person. And then after that, I'll tell you everything at that jail, in front of cameras, video recorded.
Where's your daughter at?
Huh?
How do we track her down? Where's she at?
She was at LCC earlier. She was at LCC. I talked to her.
So, now, Mickey, I want to kind of, for your daughter, let's talk about this for your daughter, okay? If she finds out that her dad is being arrested for shooting the judge, and she's in high school, I didn't know how old she was, so I didn't know. So she's in high school. What is she, a senior? That's going to be hard.
She will want to see me. She will want. Now, come on, guys, be fair to me now. That's all I'm asking.
I'm being fair. That's the only thing I just wanted you to think about that. How is she 18?
Be fair to me now, guys.
Well, hold on. Is she 18?
Be fair to me now.
No, I'm asking you.
Come on, I want to see my daughter in person.
Is she 18?
I want to see my daughter in person.
How old is she, Mickey? I do have a kid. I've got grandkids.
Yeah.
I got 5 grandkids. 5 grandkids.
Listen to you.
I just want to see my daughter, man.
If she's not 18, we're going to ask your wife. We have to ask your wife if it's okay. You know that. Is she 18?
Christine and LaShawna both said they were both on their way here when they were in here. There was all kinds of people in here just running around chaotic. So how am I going to tell you what happened?
To the judge?
Yeah. You know, Christine LaShawna said my wife and daughter's on their way.
No, but you just said, how are you going to tell us what happened? Everybody's running around chaotic.
It was. I just want to see my daughter.
Keep saying the same thing over and over.
Is she 18? How old is she? If your wife's out there with her, if she ain't 18, we can ask if that's okay. But if she's 18, we just ask your daughter. So that's what I'm getting at. If she's not 18, we have to ask your wife. Do you think they're outside?
LaShawna and Christine said they was on their way.
Dang.
Let me talk to them too.
You want to go ask them about it?
Hit that button right there. No, this is recorded. Guys, come on now.
You know what? If you ever get hurt, you might need someone in your corner.
All right. Shout out to Law and Crime for doing the commercial. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Interesting statements from his daughter, and now seeing his reaction with what happened there. I feel like there's a lot more to the story than we know. Was Mickey crazy? It's a crazy thing that he did, but it's what we're hearing is there may be a reason why and not just him snapping on the judge. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. Crazy situation, man. And shout out to her. We've got 17,000 people in the building. Shout out to Lila for speaking out. Sad situation, wild situation for sure. I'll be interested to see what's going to happen once everything goes down with this trial, because there's a lot of information there, a lot of evidence there as well that we're going to get into at some point once the trial gets up in here. Thank you to everyone who's in the building, all 17,000 of y'all. If you haven't yet, please like the video. Likes are free. I don't ask for much, and it takes less than a second for y'all to like the video. Shout out to the gang. Thank you to Amy for the super sticker, reminding me that it's almost lunchtime, and Amy be killing it with the cake. The cakiest cake in the building. Shout out to Amy for always showing love in every single way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She does it all, man. Y'all make sure you go support Amy on her YouTube channel. Nah, he's a danger to society. I agree. Whether he had a meltdown or is dealing with mental illness, but he knows something about that judge. Yeah, and seeing how nervous he was around those guys that he worked with, guys that he knew. I don't know, man. Seems like there's something else there. I think we're going to skip over. Let me see. Should I do this one? Nah, let's just stick to the program. We're going to talk about Letitia James up in here. And not only are we going to get into Letitia James, but we're going to talk about Lindsay Halligan again. So let me double check and make sure this is good. I'll fix this. I got to put Letitia James up in the banner. We're going to hear from CNN today on what's going on with this situation with Letitia James. Letitia James, James Comey, they are all fighting against President Trump, and specifically Lindsay Halligan, because they don't think Lindsay Halligan was appointed lawfully and that these indictments should be thrown out, dismissed, and done with. So what we're going to hear is we're going to find out what's going on with Lindsay Halligan, if it's looking like, based on what we heard from the recent court proceedings they had, that she may be disqualified and these indictments may get dismissed. Let's see what they are talking about here as we hear from a former Trump attorney. Check it out.
Lindsay Halligan. Today's hearing lasted more than an hour, and a ruling from the judge could come at any time. A ruling that may conclude that Lindsay Halligan, who has never tried a case in her career, is not qualified to serve in her job and is legally not able to be in her job. And that means cases against James Comey and Letitia James could be over.
Ooh.
Out front now, former Trump White House lawyer Ty Cobb. So Ty, this was an important day. The hearing just over an hour about Lindsay Halligan and whether she has, whether she's allowed to be in her job. Will Halligan be disqualified and her indictments tossed out?
I don't think so.
She will be disqualified. The Comey indictment will be tossed out. And may not be able to be rebrought because the statute of limitations has lapsed. The James indictment is likely to be tossed out as well, but it can be rebrought, as Abby Lowell conceded today that in her situation that somebody may reactivate that case.
So, I mean, it is pretty stunning to imagine that we're in this moment, Ty. It really is. At one point in the hearing, the judge was expressing really serious concerns about another aspect of this, which isn't just whether Lindsay Halligan actually was legally in her job when she signed the indictment, and appeared to make the case, but that in front of the grand jury, there was a part of the Comey grand jury arguments and conversation that actually wasn't recorded. You'd always have a court reporter in there. There would be a transcript of everything, and there wasn't. And the part that's missing covered a crucial event, the actual end, the final minutes of the grand jury session on the day the indictment was returned. What could that even be about?
So if it's intentional, it's prosecutorial misconduct of the highest order. Now, it's conceivable there was a technical glitch. It's conceivable there may be a recording. There are a lot of things that we can't rule out at this stage of the game. But the Justice Department's statement later today in response to this issue highlighted the fact that this was during the deliberations, which are not recorded typically. So this was during the deliberation period. But that ignores the fact that this was not an easy deliberation. They threw out the first count of the Comey indictment. So, and that would have been the most complicated discussion between the prosecutor and the grand jury. And for an inexperienced prosecutor to navigate those circumstances, which are extremely rare, is virtually impossible.
And of course, that was the situation, right? As I said, has never tried a case before. So you think that they're going to say she is not legally in her position, and that these, for sure, the Comey and possibly the James as well, could be tossed. I want to ask you about one other really important thing here, Ty, which is the Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, and very much in the center of everything today with these big developments on the Epstein files. He is trying to fight back against serious criticism about his conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the conversation.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna get into Epstein here, but I want to know what y'all think about this, because it's seeming like this man is saying that Lindsay Halligan is going to be dismissed. Letitia James, although her indictment may be dismissed, there still could be something there that could be rebrought against her. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look into what happened and what went down during the court proceedings. And y'all check this out here.
Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James argued the interim U.S. attorney prosecuting them was unlawfully appointed to her role. MSNBC legal affairs reporter Fallon Gallagher has been inside court all morning. MSNBC senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin's back with us. Fallon, I understand things have wrapped up. What do we need to know? Anna, the big headline today is that there is no decision from the judge on whether Lindsay Halligan was unlawfully appointed. She did say that that decision will come by Thanksgiving, so within the next few weeks.
Wow.
As far as the proceedings, the government and the defense both made arguments that we've seen in a lot of the briefs. The defense went first. There was a lawyer speaking on Comey's behalf who basically argued that this is another example of the administration violating the appointments clause. They are saying that Lindsay Halligan was unlawfully appointed and therefore ineligible to serve as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia when she secured both of these indictments against Comey and James. They went on to argue that this is a separation of powers issue because if the Attorney General can appoint an acting U.S. Attorney on an interim basis for 120 days, like they're saying that they can here, then that bypasses congressional authority and also judicial authority to keep these U.S. attorneys in place. The government responded that that is completely invalid and that this is merely a quote, paperwork issue. They went on to say that the Attorney General has, quote, broad authority to appoint as many 120 days terms for these U.S. attorneys as they would like. Now, the judge seemed a little bit skeptical of that argument, that I would say during the defense's presentation, she mostly listened and looked straight forward. When the government was arguing, she asked some more questions and some were more pointed. Specifically, she asked about a decision in the Jack Smith case, which I think Lisa can actually speak to quite well.
Lisa, go for it.
One of the things that she seemed to ask the government as they were on their way out the door, essentially, do you think that the decision by Judge Cannon in United States versus Trump, that's the classified Mar-a-Lago documents case, was wrongly decided? You and our viewers may remember that Judge Cannon invalidated Jack Smith's appointment on the grounds that it violated the Constitution's appointments clause. Why? Because he constituted an inferior officer based on his powers that should have been nominated by the president and Senate confirmed, but in no case simply appointed by the Attorney General. The point Judge Curry was trying to make, or at least was insinuating, is that Lindsay Halligan is really no differently situated than Jack Smith. The whole point of the special counsel regulations is to empower the special counsel to behave as a sort of 95th U.S. attorney in addition to the 94 judicial districts. If the special counsel's authority is really functionally equivalent to that of a U.S. attorney, and the special counsel can't be appointed by the Attorney General without confirmation by the Senate and nomination by a president, well then, what does that have in store for Lindsay Halligan? The government, as I understand it from Fallon, really struggled to answer that question directly, sort of twisting itself into knots. You can see how that would be a problematic position to defend, how Jack Smith's position was invalid and yet Lindsay Halligan's position is okay. I will tell you that there are some minor differences in that a U.S. attorney is always subject to the supervision of an attorney general. That's not necessarily true, though, with respect to a special counsel. Those regulations said that a special counsel can do certain things unless essentially the attorney general says they cannot. That having been said, the attorney general had power to fire a special counsel. The attorney general doesn't have power to fire an interim U.S. attorney. So there are some differences here.
The law is so wild.
Her focus on Judge Cannon's opinion is not a good sign for the government's position in this case.
Very interesting. So let me know what y'all think about this moving forward. It seems like it could potentially be a chess move by, we'll say, the Department of Justice. I know a lot of y'all want to say President Trump. Maybe. It seems like this is a chess move by the Department of Justice to maybe just get the indictments out there and move forward. So they bring in Lindsay Halligan. She's appointed by Pam Bondi. And they say, all right, we got the indictments there. Now Letitia James, she's shaking. Now James Comey, he knows that we're going to be pursuing this. And then moving forward, we can address that. And if it's by Lindsay Halligan, it is. If not, we'll have somebody else take on this task. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments and in the chat as well. What are y'all thinking, man? Are you going to be covering the Brian Walsh case? Yes, we are. Brian Walsh, I think it's starting in a couple weeks. Dang, I wanted to see Letitia go down. Letitia is going to have her day in court. Don't worry, because we're going to actually talk about James Comey up here shortly and how that's going to affect how this situation with Lindsay Halligan is going to affect James Comey as well. So let's get into that and see what's going on with James Comey. I've got this updated here, and thank you again. We've got 17,000 of y'all in the building. Guys, please like the video. I don't ask for anything else. Likes are free. And yes, we will be covering Brian Walsh. That should be coming up soon, I believe. All right, let me get the picture of the president in here, and then we'll get into this next subject. So now that we've covered everything going on with Letitia James, we're going to talk about what's happening with James Comey's part of this. Now, it's seeming like James Comey, he may actually get a break here if Lindsay Halligan is dismissed, or if they show that these indictments are going to be dismissed. So we're going to find out here from CBS News what's most likely to happen in the situation with Lindsay Halligan, Department of Justice versus James Comey. Check this out.
Hearing played out in a Virginia courtroom today over whether the federal charges brought against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James should be dismissed. Arguments centered around whether President Trump legally appointed the prosecutor who brought the case, Lindsay Halligan, to be interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. CBS News Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen has more on what happened in court.
Lawyers for former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James faced off against the Justice Department on Thursday before a federal judge, weighing whether to dismiss the indictments against the officials because Lindsay Halligan's appointment as interim U.S. Attorney in Virginia is unlawful. The court decided to consolidate the arguments for dismissal soon after James's arraignment last month, and legal teams for both Comey and James argued that Halligan's appointment as interim U.S. Attorney was both invalid and unconstitutional. Halligan is a former Trump defense lawyer who later joined him in his second administration, and she was tapped as interim U.S. Attorney in September after serving as a senior aide to Mr. Trump in this White House. Halligan, who was previously an insurance lawyer, took the helm of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Alexandria, Virginia, with no prosecutorial experience. Mr. Trump nominated her for U.S. Attorney in late September amid pressure from his White House to bring prosecutions against his political foes, including James and Comey. U.S. District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry didn't immediately rule from the bench on Thursday, but said she expects to decide by Thanksgiving on challenges to Halligan's appointment as interim U.S. Attorney. The hearing lasted more than an hour, and Comey was present for the proceeding. A Justice Department lawyer told the court that questions about whether Halligan was properly appointed are an effort by those attorneys for Comey and James to, quote, elevate at best what is a paperwork error and shouldn't doom the indictments against them. That attorney said that under federal law governing U.S. attorney vacancies, Attorney General Pam Bondi has the power to appoint a person to fill that role temporarily for 120 days. And each appointment, no matter how many times that's done, triggers its own 120-day clock. But attorneys who argued for Comey and James said that Halligan's role in this indictment and against their client is a, quote, fundamental defect against the indictments, and argued that the Senate's advise and consent function in approving a president's nominees for U.S. attorney posts around the country would be, quote, eviscerated if the judge sides with the Justice Department. The Trump administration, he said, is attempting a, quote, end run around the Senate's confirmation process. Dismissing the case and not allowing the Justice Department to file new charges would, quote, deter and not reward the government for violating the Constitution's appointment clause and federal law, the attorneys argued. And after a review of the grand jury proceedings in both cases, the judge overseeing this case said that all the evidence shows that Ms. Halligan acted alone in securing those indictments. And the judge also questioned the government about what she said was a missing portion of the transcript from the Comey grand jury proceedings from about 4:28 p.m. to when that indictment was returned, and suggested that Attorney General Pam Bondi could not have reviewed the grand jury proceedings as she did when she submitted a memorandum that ratified the indictments and attempted to back up their legitimacy as Halligan faces these legal challenges. Back to you.
Yeah, so it seems like they might be trying to backdoor the indictments here. I'm not going to lie. We're going to find out what's going to happen here shortly. I think the judge will have a decision sooner than Thanksgiving.
Jake Rosen, thank you. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now to discuss this. So, Jessica, what do you make of the arguments made by lawyers for Comey and James?
So they're arguing that, as we just heard, that Lindsay Halligan was not properly appointed to this position, and that maybe unlike in other situations, that because she was the one to present these cases to the grand jury, because she was the one to sign both indictments, that there isn't a way to cure that problem. So we really see here a robust discussion about what the federal statute allows. Where does the federal statute allow the attorney general to continue to make these successive 120-day, 120-day, 120-day interim appointments? Or does the statute say you can appoint somebody for 120 days? That was Eric Siebert, who preceded Lindsay Halligan. And then after that, what can happen is what happened, which is the district court then reappointed Eric Siebert, but you can't keep restarting the clock and then appointing new people to these 120-day positions.
So if the judge rules Halligan is in fact not in her position legally, what happens to the charges against them?
They gone.
So that's the big question here, because in other circumstances, what judges have said when there's very similar question about is this person properly in their role as head of the U.S. Attorney's Office, there have been other prosecutors who have been key parts of bringing those cases. When it comes to the case against Letitia James, when it comes to the case against James Comey, what they're both arguing is that there weren't career prosecutors who wanted to sign on. In fact, that's why the prior U.S. attorney in charge of the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Siebert, resigned or was pushed out. And they're saying, so you can't cure the way you could in other places, that the only thing to do is basically to trash the indictments, similar to what happened with respect to Jack Smith trying to prosecute President Trump in Florida. They're saying you have to throw out the whole case.
Jessica Levinson, thank you.
Wow. That's tough. What do y'all think is going to happen moving forward? Because both of them might be catching a break. We heard from a former White House attorney that he said it's not looking good. It's not looking good for both of them. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. Tough, man. Thank you for everyone who's in here. We're actually going to get, there's a topic I wanted to get into that is kind of wild. And I think most of you will appreciate this because we're going to talk about some crazy things that are happening in Boston. This situation is going to be a tough one for me because y'all know, some of you may know if you've been watching the channel for a while, how I feel about crimes against children, which may or may not be involved in this case, but we're going to go ahead and get into it and talk about what's going on with the BPD again. Again, I'm going to keep asking until we get at least 100% likes. It looks like we have almost half of y'all have liked the video. So thank you to everyone who's done that. Can y'all please like the video? It's free, man. All right. Just drop a like in there. It won't hurt. I promise. So let's see what's going on with the Boston Police Department here. Let me get Karen Reed up here because she is definitely the poster child for BPD right now. And this situation is wild. We've got another situation where a Boston police officer is being caught committing a crime. And this crime is specifically somewhat heinous. We're going to find out about it here. Check out from News 22 over there in Boston, and then we'll get into the full story. It's a police chief as well. Here we go.
The police chief in the Berkshire County town of Cheshire has been arrested on charges of soliciting sex for a fee. According to the Berkshire District Attorney's Office, 53-year-old Michael Alibosik was taken into custody in the parking lot of Hoosick Valley Middle and High School at around 9:45 last night after communicating online with an undercover state police detective. Following the arrest, he was relieved of duty and placed on paid administrative leave. An emergency select board meeting will be held tonight to appoint an acting chief. The former chief will be arraigned on Monday in Central Berkshire District Court.
Okay, so he's 53 and he was placed on paid leave. How do y'all feel about this? If you're out there in Cheshire, are you okay with him being on paid administrative leave? Do you think they should let it play out? Is he innocent till proven guilty? Let's go to Law and Crime and see the full story.
A Massachusetts police chief is nearly caught with his pants down after allegedly soliciting a woman for sex. Law and Crime obtained the criminal complaint that contains all the shocking details.
This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
By the way, there's a reason Law and Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have more than
shout out to Morgan & Morgan, but we're not doing a commercial.
Police chief was caught in the parking lot of a local school. But as always, there's a lot more to this story.
Michael Alibosik was the police chief of the Cheshire Police Department, a position he's held since June of 2022. But now his career is in jeopardy. Let's dive into what police say happened. Last week on November 6th, a woman created an online ad. We don't know what website the ad was placed on, and there's a reason. This was all a part of an undercover operation. A UC or undercover officer placed the ad specifically on his site for independent escorts agency escorts, and other adult service providers. The UC even used the app Callyo to set up undercover phone numbers to call or text potential offenders. But also on the flip side, law enforcement uses it to contact victims too. In this case, though, the UC got a text from a man who police say made his intention clear, and that man allegedly was Chief Ali Bozak. Those messages came in shortly before 9 p.m. on November 6. According to his criminal complaint, the messages marked in came from Michael. The messages marked out came from the woman who police say Michael had no idea was an undercover officer. Here's what they say according to police documents. Michael, you free for outcall? Undercover officer, yes. Michael, willing to come to Adams? Undercover officer, where in Adams? Dang. Michael, East Road, just over the Adams-Cheshire line. Undercover officer, any chance you can come a little more south? Michael, really don't want to go out. It's okay if you don't want to come here. My daughter will be home at 10:30ish, so it has to be a quickie. Undercover officer, I just don't love just going to Rando's house. Ha ha ha, no offense. Any chance we can meet like down the road first or do a car date? Michael, if it's quick, we can meet at Huzak, then maybe come to my house, but just need to be back and you out before my daughter gets home.
Good Lord. Come on, brother.
I live about a mile from the school. Undercover officer. Okay, I can do that. What services do you want so I can give you the price? What services do you want? Huzak isn't far from me at all. Michael, just a half hour. Or do you want specifics? Undercover officer. Well, babes, price also depends on specifics. Michael, meet you by the football field parking lot. You're not LE, are you? Undercover officer. Hell no, I'm not risking getting in trouble. I'm on my way. Are you LE? Michael, okay, where are you coming from? Crazy. And I'll meet you there. Hell no. Undercover officer. Pittsfield Lanesboro line. Wait, you didn't tell me what you wanted. Michael, want to bend you over and F you. Undercover officer. Ooh, bet. I'll meet you in 15. What kind of car will you be in? I'm driving a RAV4. Michael, Toyota pickup black. How far away are you? Undercover officer. Currently 10 minutes. Michael, okay, just pulled in. Sure you don't just want to meet me at my house? It's 2 minutes up the road. Undercover officer. Okay, I'm almost there.
Massachusetts, man. What y'all got going on?
Last message Michael allegedly sent to the woman was at 9:43 p.m. on November 6. Around 9:45, officers arrived to the school in an unmarked car. When investigators drove through the parking lot, a black Toyota Tacoma pulled up. Officers told Michael to get out of the vehicle and, according to the complaint, placed him in handcuffs shortly after. This time, Michael was on the opposite side of the Miranda rights. Instead of reading them, they were being read to him. Michael reportedly claimed this was all a big misunderstanding. According to his complaint, he told officers he was on the website to begin with to try to get girls off the street. He claimed he met up with the women, talked to them, even bringing them food, and attempted to set them straight. He's claimed he's done this with about 4 or 5 women in the past. He claims the meetups aren't sexual. They are to get them on a straight line. According to court documents, the police chief claimed he discovered the escort website about a year ago. He met with a Russian woman from Pittsfield, another woman from Lenox, and that those specific women haven't been back on the site since, and that he hopes they're doing well. Michael allegedly told the officers he believes the women will corroborate his story. But there's a problem. He wouldn't have a way of getting a hold of them. The report noted Michael Ali Bozak is married with 2 kids. He pointed one of them out in the text messages. But he told the arresting officers his wife wouldn't approve of him meeting with these women. And the night he was arrested, she was actually in Boston for a work training. When officers searched Michael's car, they found more than $500 cash. Investigators believed they had enough to make an arrest, and they did. Michael was charged with soliciting sex for a fee. Following his arrest, he was relieved of duty and placed on administrative leave. His access to the police station and his police-issued firearm were seized. The town of...
I'm just confused as to why he's placed on administrative leave. Can anybody explain that? How was that decision made? If you got all this information... the police caught him red-handed, or as they say, caught with his pants down. What are we doing?
Cheshire even had to hold an emergency meeting to appoint an acting chief, and the matter had to be reported to the Massachusetts Post Commission. He's bailed out of jail since, and he pleaded not guilty to his charge. His attorney told NBC Boston he is going to be forwarding an aggressive defense that will dispute the charges. His defense team and our investigators are following up on information provided to us that I think will be very helpful to his defense and possibly will lead to an exoneration of him. He's a very solid citizen, and it's a shame that this charge took place. I understand that the DA and the state police have a job to do. We're also going to be aggressively defending him. We do have viable, very substantial defenses we're going to be raising.
I'm joined now by criminal defense attorney Will Corman. Will, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like, Will, it's pretty obvious that officials were going to put Michael Ali Bozak on administrative leave, but just reading through the criminal complaint, I was kind of like, Wow. Especially when he asked the woman/undercover officer if she was law enforcement. What stood out most to you kind of reading through his criminal complaint?
Well, I mean, one of the, I think, most troubling aspects of this is it's twofold. One is he keeps talking about the fact that the undercover officer needs to be gone by the time his daughter gets home, and I think that's particularly troubling. Here we have a gentleman who was the chief of police of a town, and he is bringing home what he thinks is a sex worker to his actual house, knowing full well that his daughter may be getting home any minute now, and that's troubling. It shows a compulsion. It shows an inability to even conform his conduct, despite the fact that he knows his daughter is coming home literally within any moment. He puts in the chat, you need to be gone by 10:30. My daughter is going to be home then. And he says it at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, desperate times, man. What do y'all think about this? I'm still stuck on the paid administrative leave. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. I'm sure we're going to see more about this story. I'll be interested to see how they're going to defend this, because with it being to law enforcement, I know we've seen this in history. And will he be able to really convince a jury once this goes to trial that he was doing it to try and help get girls off the street? I mean, if he hasn't showed a pattern of participating in this type of behavior, either way, I think it's going to be tough to prove. I want to know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. You know, we gotta put Massachusetts on blast here every now and then. I know Karen Reed is out here being the gift that keeps on giving, but you almost feel bad for him. Like if he really was trying to, do what he had to do, like, dang, that's got to be disappointing. You getting handcuffed, you all excited to have a good time before you watch the kids. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing about that. Either way, let's go ahead and get back into this trial. Y'all know we've been covering some of what's been going on with this Devyn Michaels trial, and it continues to get crazy. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me double check and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Shout out to the gang in here. Good to see y'all. Amazing Grace is in the building. Shout out to Amazing Grace. I love you. I appreciate you. So glad you're in here. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you to everyone that's just joining us as well. Mickey was a sheriff. The chief of police in Whitesburg is a different person and also turned a blind eye. I'm sure. I feel like Mickey had a right to be nervous, and there was a reason for sure. So let's get back into it. We're going to go ahead and get back into this Devyn Michaels trial. This was the trial where this woman allegedly beheaded her husband and killed him. Now, it's a weird situation, and we're going to get into this some today. I know y'all can see the title of the video. You can see the headline. Yes, you read it right. We are going to hear from Devyn Michaels' husband / stepson. It gets really weird. Y'all check it out. We'll get into this testimony here and let me know what you think in the comments in the chat.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Sir, will you please state your full name and then spell it for the record?
Give me 1 second, guys.
Devyn WIllis.
Can you spell that for us, sir?
DEVIERRELLETTE.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready, sir. Devyn, how old are you?
29, sir.
Here. I can sweep this up so you don't have to look out. What is your birthday?
March 1st, 1996.
What was your relationship to Jonathan Willett?
I was his son.
Do you have siblings?
I have 2 younger sisters.
And what's your mom's name?
Armentia Simmons.
Do you remember or know when your dad and Armentia split?
I was probably about 9 years old.
When they split, you were 9 years old. Where were you guys living generally? Was it here in Vegas?
I don't remember.
Did you go back and forth between Vegas and California?
Yes, sir.
Quite a bit in your life?
Never saw him.
Okay. Did there come a point in time where your dad moved here and stayed in Vegas pretty much permanently until his death?
Yes, sir.
And where was he living in the latter years of his life?
On Paul Georgia.
Is that with your grandma?
Yes, sir.
Is that Yoko?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a point in time when you were introduced to a woman by the name of Nikki?
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, you end up getting married to Nikki. And we have a lot to unpack here. I'm sorry to air your dirty laundry, but we have to ask a lot of questions about this, okay? When you first met Nikki, was she dating or in a relationship with your dad?
They were dating at the time.
They were dating at the time?
Yes, sir.
Where were they living at the time, if you know?
I don't know.
When your dad and Nikki were together, did they eventually have children?
Yes, sir.
And is that your two sisters?
Yes, sir.
We don't need to say their names, but what are their approximate ages?
This is so weird.
Okay, that's okay.
He doesn't know. This man shook. This has got to be so embarrassing that his business is put out there. This is already a weird situation. He knew her since she was 9. He was dating his dad. Not only did his dad have kids with his now wife, but now he's in this situation to where his wife allegedly murdered his dad. Boy, I done seen it all.
Okay, I just need an approximate. So are they right now
He doesn't know how old his sisters
under the
are.
age of 13?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
yikes.
Were you in kind of living with dad or anything like that when he was with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
And when they had the children together, were they living together?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember where that was?
Not the numbers, but it was on Blue Magic Street.
Blue Magic? Is that here in Vegas?
Yes, sir.
Before the girls were born, did there come a point in time where you and Nikki became intimate? Or was it after?
It was after.
Okay. So girls are born. Do Nikki and your dad stay together after the girls are born?
Yes, sir.
And for how long did they stay together before they split?
Come on, bro.
When eventually, after the girls are born, do you and Nikki enter into an intimate relationship?
Yes, sir.
About how old were you at that time?
19.
19 years old?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how old she was at the time?
No, sir.
How was it that that relationship kind of started?
Yeah. Tell the truth, man.
Do you remember who kind of, I don't mean to be crass, but like who made the first move or any of that? Okay, it was a long time ago, right?
Yes, sir.
While you were intimate with Nikki initially, was she still dating your dad? Or in a relationship with your dad?
Yes. Come on.
Does it embarrass you to admit that in front of a bunch of strangers?
Yes, sir.
Awkward.
Did you continue being intimate with Nikki for an extended period of time?
Yes, sir.
So Nikki, she was smashing the dad and the...
Do you know if your dad found out about the intimate part of your relationship?
No, sir.
And I'm not going to say it a bunch of times, but when I say intimate, I mean sexual. We agree there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did there come a point in time where you all three lived under the same roof?
Yes, sir.
And was that the Magic House?
Yes, sir.
And is that when the intimate relationship started out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, tell me if you can remember, when is it that any of you three move out of Blue Magic? Like, we need to get a sequence of events. Did you move out first? Did they split and move in different places? Or can you remember that far back?
I moved out first.
And where did you move to?
I moved back to California.
And where did you stay in California, if you remember?
Crazy.
187 Poppy Circle.
Was that with other family?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Eventually, do you move back to Vegas?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what year that was?
No, sir.
Okay. When you do move back to Vegas, after moving to Cali, you move back to Vegas, do you move in with Yoko at the Palo Duro address?
No, sir.
Where did you move that time?
Back to the Blue Magic House.
Okay. Did you then leave back to California for a second time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I stepped one step too far ahead. When you moved back to Vegas the first time, you moved into Blue Magic. Who was living at Blue Magic?
My father, Nikki, and the engineer.
The two girls?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He knows their names, just doesn't know how old they are.
Was there some kind of discussion with Nikki at that time about being pregnant?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
I moved back to California, and I was told that she was pregnant with my child, and if I didn't move back, she was going to have that child.
So she tells you this?
She told me that.
So you had gotten out of the situation back in Cali, and you, I presume, talked to her over the phone or something?
Yes, sir.
Now it took me a while to figure it out, but I now understand why the prosecution is bringing him up there and why the defense is going against him, because you would think the defense would call him as a witness to help their case with Nikki, but the defense is somewhat pointing the finger at this young man. Well, he's not a young man anymore. They're saying he's the one who had the motive. He's the one who could possibly, should have, and could have been one of the main suspects in this, but they went after Devyn instead.
She tells you she's pregnant, it's yours, and unless you come back, she is going to have the child.
Yes, sir.
What did you do in response to that? Did you witness her go to a doctor?
No, sir.
Did she tell you anything about that child she claimed was yours?
She told me that she had gotten abortion.
But you never saw any documentation or
No, sir.
anything like that? Okay. So you're pulled back into this situation, you're back here in Vegas, and then you move out again to California.
Yes, sir.
When you moved back to California that time, do you remember your dad, Nikki, and the girls still staying at Blue Magic together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then you go back to California, and when is it that you return?
Wow.
A couple of years after that.
A couple of years?
I believe it was
Okay.
4 years after.
And you spoke with Ms. Griffith and I last night, right?
Yes, sir.
We talked about, I'm going to ask you some questions, and if you don't know a date, you estimate, but don't guess. We're in agreement there, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're doing your best with the dates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you moved back this time, were the girls living with Nikki and just Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Where was your dad living?
Palo Duro Drive.
Where did you move to?
Palo Duro Drive.
So you lived with your dad?
Yes, sir.
Who else lived in the home?
Yoko and Yoshida and my father.
Okay. Is Yoshida Yoko's partner, friend, boyfriend?
Yes, sir.
They're elderly folks?
Yes, sir.
When you lived with your dad, how was your relationship at that time?
It was fine. I worked with him.
You worked with him too?
Yes, sir.
Doing what?
Anything and everything.
Okay.
Moving houses to setting up backyards.
Moving houses, setting up backyards?
Wow.
Okay. So let me ask you kind of a general question before we move on. Is it fair for me to say that your dad was in and out of your life growing up?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a strong relationship with your dad as you're getting into your late teens, early 20s, or was it just kind of a, that's my dad and don't see him too often, or what?
No, I love my father, so we have a strong relationship.
Okay. Did there come a point in time when you're living with him at Palo Duro and working that you guys have some disagreements about work and other stuff?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider your dad to have been a hard-headed person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he an opinionated guy?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever tell your dad that you had been having a sexual relationship with the father of his other children?
The mother, you mean?
The mother. Jeez, I said father. Yeah.
No, sir.
I apologize. Knowing your dad as you did, if he had known you were having a sexual relationship with his mother of his children, is he the type of guy that would have just said nothing and let it go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you never tell him. I don't want to ask an obvious question, but why not?
I couldn't go with the courage to do it.
Okay. Eventually, do you move out of the Paladura?
One second, Mr. Dunn. You can't hear him? Okay. And I'm sorry, sir. You're going to thank you so much. You're going to just raise out to people. And we're going to see if we can fix this.
He got that R&B voice.
So can you just say test for me?
Oh, test.
Can you hear him better now? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Judge. Oh.
Nobody can be held in contempt.
All right. I'm going to keep that one in the back pocket. So you eventually move out of Paladura.
Yes, sir.
Dad stays, Yoko and Yoshida stay.
Yes, sir.
Where do you move?
To 5510 Porcupine Rim Street.
Did you move in with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
And I've been saying Nikki. Did you know Nikki by several different names?
Tracy, Devyn, and Nikki. Those three.
Tracy, Devyn, and Nikki?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Devyn spelled Devyn? D-E-V-Y-N?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, it's Devyn, not Devyn.
Did you,
I've been saying Devyn.
after moving out of Paladura and into Porcupine Rim, resume your sexual relationship with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Were your sisters living there, or was there some kind of custody arrangement? Or was that later?
That was later.
Okay. So when you first move into Porcupine Rim, can you give us a date, a year, an approximate year, anything like that? And if you need to use the date of your dad's death, August 7th, 2023, as a point of reference counting back.
Probably 2020.
Probably 2020?
Actually, I don't know.
Okay. So you live at, can we agree that you live at Porcupine Rim at least a couple of years with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this time frame, I'm going to ask you some very specific questions. Did there come a point in time when the family court became involved in the custody of the children?
Yes, sir.
Did Nikki lose custody of the children?
Yes, sir.
Was this before or after you married, if you remember?
After.
So after you married Nikki is when the custody thing happened?
Yes, sir.
Prior to that, were the girls living with you and Nikki at Porcupine Rim for however long you were living there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wow.
And Dad, to your knowledge, is still living across town?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When Nikki lost custody of the children, did they move back in with your dad?
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, did they live out at the Paladura address?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long they lived at Paladura with your dad?
No, sir.
Okay. Did there come a point in time in the summer months, just before your father's death, that the girls moved back in with you guys, you and Nikki at Porcupine Rim?
Yes, sir.
Did they stay over the summer?
Yes, sir.
Did they have bedrooms there?
Yes, sir.
And where were you sleeping at the time?
The master bedroom downstairs.
With Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were there times that you slept on the couch?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did your sexual, intimate relationship continue throughout the course of this time period?
Yes, sir.
I hate to air out your laundry, like I said, but I just have to ask, when you're having this sexual relationship with Nikki, is it a tumultuous relationship?
I don't know the definition of that word.
Okay. Is there a lot of
ask
kind of
him.
arguing and back and forth, or you describe it for me?
There was argument back and forth.
Were there times in which you yourself were trying to get out of this relationship?
Yes, sir.
Describe that. How many times? What's going on in your head at this time?
That when I tried to fill some shoes that I had no business filling.
Whose shoes?
If we just get a little bit closer to the, it's okay.
So you believe you said that you were trying to fill some shoes that you had no business filling. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
As a result of that, did you start to get a little uncomfortable and attempt to leave a couple of times?
Yes, sir.
Did there ever come a point in time, and I want to be precise here, prior to you learning of your dad's death, that you learned he was going to move in to the Porcupine Rim address?
Prior, no, sir.
So you didn't know he was going to move in prior?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you learn that at some point after?
I learned after the death when my grandmother was telling me about it.
Okay. Did you talk to your grandma like on the 7th?
The day after, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to now bring you to August 6th, okay, 2023. On that date, were you living at the Porcupine Rim address?
Yes, sir.
Were the girls living there?
Yes, sir.
Was Nikki living there?
Yes, sir.
Do you know or remember what you did during the day on August 6th?
I had woke up and I went to work, and I got a phone call from my grandfather saying that my dad was critically injured. And
okay, let me clarify here. I'm talking about the day before you were notified.
I went to work.
Okay, so you work on the 6th.
Crazy, man.
Do you know what Nikki and the girls were doing that day?
No, sir.
Did there come a point in time after you get home from, oh, and I should ask you, did you drive a work van?
Yes, sir.
Is that the white one that was parked in front of the home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's another vehicle out front of the home. Whose was that? Not the Nissan Armada, but the little sedan.
Oh, that was my vehicle, sir.
Was that operable at the time?
Yes, sir.
And did you drive it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The night of August 6th, you get home from work. Do you remember a point in time where you saw your dad at the Porcupine Rim address?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
So I just got off work. I was helping with the girls with their homework, and I believe I went into the garage and I saw my father bringing over a bunk bed and a desk for the girls, and his back was turned to me, so I closed the garage door.
So you
That's
didn't
gotta
talk
be
to him.
crazy, man.
How was your relationship at that point in time?
Dang.
We hadn't talked for a while.
At some point prior to that, had he learned that you had actually married Nikki?
Yes, sir.
How was that conversation, or if you had a conversation about it?
He sent me a text message asking or saying, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not right. And I responded with half of what you know was true and the other half isn't.
Okay.
Which was a lie.
So your dad clearly knew you were formally married.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the date you got married?
No, sir.
Bruh, come on,
Did you
man.
ever get divorced?
No, sir.
Is that something you would like to do?
After this, yes.
Okay. Once this trial is done?
Yes.
Okay.
Dang.
That night when you see your dad moving the girls' stuff into the garage, you don't talk?
No, sir.
Okay. What did you do after that? Did you just go back inside or what?
I went back inside and I continued watching the movie with the girls.
Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury kind of how the night progressed from there.
So I continued watching the girls, watching the movie with them, and Nikki had told me that she was going to go help John move some things, and I said okay, so I stayed at the house. We continued watching the movie, and I believe when the movie was over, I put them down to bed, and I myself went to sleep.
Do you remember where you put them down to bed?
Yes, they had individual rooms upstairs. So I took them upstairs, I had them change into their pajamas, and then went to bed.
Okay. And then where would you have gone to sleep that night?
Downstairs in the master bedroom.
Do you remember texting Nikki saying something to that effect?
I remember texting her, letting her know that I put the girls to sleep, and I myself am going to sleep because I was working next day.
You had work the next day?
Yes, sir.
What time did you typically work?
I believe it was 8 a.m. or 8:30.
Okay. So I'm not going to show you a text message, but you remember sending a text message. Do you remember the time of that text message?
I believe it was 10 p.m.
Okay. And so After the text message is sent, do you remember receiving a response from Nikki, or you just go to bed?
I just went to bed.
And if I didn't ask you, where did you go to sleep?
Downstairs in the master bedroom.
The normal place you sleep.
Yes,
when you went to bed, was Nikki home?
No, sir.
And that would be why you sent her the text, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember waking up at any point after falling asleep that night?
I remember waking up around 2 to her getting into bed, and since I work early in the morning, I didn't ask anything of her. I just looked over, I saw her, and I went back to sleep.
This was, to you, a normal night, right? You would have no reason to ask her anything, right?
No, because if they were moving things around, if they were just working through the night to try to get it all done.
Okay. When you looked over, did you see anything out of sorts about her? I mean, I understand it was a normal night for you, but like, did you observe anything that was different?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you go back to sleep after that around 2?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when you woke up the next morning?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
Around 6 a.m.
Tell the jury how that morning progressed.
I woke up around 6 a.m. and I got ready for work. I'm usually the first one that's up, so I got dressed and I went to work.
Do you remember seeing Nikki or the girls or anything that morning after you woke up?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you remember where your job was that day by chance?
I worked at Hometronics, so I was all over the place on those days.
Okay. And when you're working, do you drive the, work van?
Yes, sir.
When you're on your off days, do you drive the work van or the car?
The car.
Okay. So on this day, can we presume that you're driving the work van if you're doing a job?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow. So, I believe you said you work normally around 8:30.
How old was he at this point?
At some point in time, do you get a phone call?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
It was a phone call from my grandfather saying that my father was critically injured and in the hospital.
Okay.
That's an understatement.
Okay. When your grandfather tells you that, what do you do?
I proceeded to call my boss to take off work.
And did you learn a little more information from another family member after that?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
That he had passed away, and I didn't get any information on how he actually passed away. It was just that he passed.
Okay.
No, he was
so
killed.
Initially, the first call, critically injured, but you tell your work, hey, I got to go. You learn after that he's passed.
Yes, sir.
I guess where do you go from work?
Straight on.
What do you do when you go home?
Start drinking.
Okay. Did you drink back then?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember, before you started drinking, if the girls or Nikki were home when you arrived home?
No, sir.
You don't remember, or they were not?
They weren't home.
They were not home?
No.
Okay.
What do y'all think about this? The defense is going to try and point the finger at him. I mean, I'm not seeing it. What are they going to say? That Nikki, aka Devyn, aka Devyn, was just trying to do this to protect him? We'll have to see what they say. Let me know what y'all think about this so far in the comments in the chat. Oof, weird stuff, man. This is so strange, so sad to see how this went about. I mean, this young man, probably innocent at one point, and who knows how it led up to the situation for him, because we don't know how early on in his life he had been interacting with his stepmom at the time. We're gonna move on, because this is just too much. So now we're going to get into another part of the testimony. I want to switch gears a little bit, and we'll go back at some point to that young man's testimony. But now we're going to hear from an officer who was in charge of locating and finding surveillance around the house during the time this man was allegedly killed, or during the time that Devyn allegedly committed the crime. So we're going to hear from him. We're actually going to see some video footage from around the house, and this might be the final nail in the coffin. Check it out.
I swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
May I see?
Thank you.
Can you please state your full name and then spell it for the record?
Full name is Carl Lippisch, First name is Karl. Last name is Lippisch.
Sir, how are you employed?
I work for the city of Henderson as a police officer.
And specifically, what's your position there?
I'm currently a detective with our Crimes Against Persons unit.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
I've been in this unit for just over 9 years.
What are some of your duties in your unit?
Our unit, Crimes Against Persons, responds to violent crimes, including like homicides, death investigations. We do any violent crimes such as shootings, stabbings. We respond to officer-involved shootings, as well as suspicious deaths, suicides, robberies, and a lot of cases like that.
And so when you're investigating those types of cases, what are some of your duties? Are you collecting evidence, something else?
Yes, depending on our role that we're assigned, depending on how many detectives are assisting with the investigation, you can either be the primary person with it, who's kind of overseeing everything. You can be doing interviews, collecting evidence, whether it be physical evidence on scene, tracking other evidence down, collecting video surveillance, writing search warrants, a wide range of job duties that are necessary for the investigation.
Okay. So then turning your attention to August 7th of 2023, were you assigned to assist in a murder investigation on that date?
Yes, I was.
And did you respond to the actual murder scene, which was at 2698 Paladura Drive?
Yes, I did.
Who was there when you arrived that day?
At that time when we arrived, as detectives, we're usually contacted after the fact, after the initial response. So when we arrive, our Henderson police officers have already arrived at the location, and typically they've kind of frozen the location or kind of taken control of the area to make sure that it's preserved as best as possible.
And is that what was happening at that Paladura Drive when you showed up?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you arrive in the morning hours of that day?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And who did you arrive with?
At that time, I don't remember exactly who in my squad was all on duty, but I believe Detective Ozawa and I were both working that morning. I know my sergeant, Sergeant Slattery, and then I believe the rest of our squad, as well as CSAs, were called to respond as well.
Mm-hmm. And can you walk the ladies and gentlemen of the jury through what you did at the scene when you arrived?
When we arrive on a scene, especially something of this magnitude, we will meet as a squad initially, and then we will get with whoever the on-scene ranking officer or like lieutenant or sergeant is for the patrol squad. They will typically have a brief that they can provide to us, give us as much detail or information as that they have, which would include involved parties, locations, if there's vehicles involved, any details that are pertinent that they've already learned once we arrive at the scene. And then after that has been conducted, we'll then get together as a squad and we'll determine our jobs and responsibilities. Once that's done, we could also end up doing like a walkthrough of the scene to then be able to kind of get a feel for what exactly we're looking at.
So talking about this specific scene on August 7th, 2023, you arrive, you get a briefing, like how you just mentioned?
Correct.
Okay, so some initial details that the first responders provide to you, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then after getting that information, what did you physically do?
On this scene, because the family was there and the family was, obviously they were dealing with the trauma of it and they're very cooperative with us, we were granted consent to initially walk in and kind of understand what we were there for, what we were responding to. We were able to see the initial scene, see the inside of the residence, and see the deceased person lying in the bed, so that we were able to kind of understand what exactly our investigation was going to entail.
So essentially you do a walkthrough of the murder scene, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. After going ahead and doing that walkthrough, did you assist with the execution of a search warrant?
Yes, I did.
And that search warrant was granted for the residence from a judge, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And did you also, were you involved in a search warrant for a truck that was located at that Paladura address?
Yes.
Now, talking about the scene itself, you mentioned that you did a walkthrough and then eventually assisted in the execution of the search warrant, correct?
Yes.
So talking about the scene itself, if you remember, there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, a living room, makeshift bedroom, sort of past the kitchen in the residence. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And was the body found in that room?
Yes, it was.
Where was the body?
The body was lying on the bed that was in that room, kind of lying across the bed.
Okay. Were there blankets?
Yes, there were.
You also noticed blood at the scene?
Yes.
Was there anything unique or interesting about the blood that you saw at the scene?
The blood at the scene was primarily limited to the space of the bed itself. The way that the body was positioned on the bed, the torso and the neck were up towards the edge of the bed, and then the severed head was not there, so the neck was exposed. And then the blood itself there was some that had like come down from the body directly straight down, but there wasn't I should say hardly any like blood spatter or anything like throughout the room that you may initially think due to the fact that the head was missing.
And just to be clear, there was no blood spatter that you saw?
Correct.
Okay. Did you also find chemical bottles?
Yes.
And where were those found?
There was 2 bottles that were found in the hallway that would lead from this room that was kind of the makeshift bedroom, more like a living room style, that had the bed in it. There was a hallway that led from that room to a bathroom, laundry room, as well as out to the garage. And those were found in that hallway.
Okay. And 2 bottles to be exact, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Cleaning agents?
Yes.
And you mentioned you've been with the unit, this specific unit, for 9 years. Was this your first and only decapitation investigation?
Yes.
So it's quite rare. I think you mentioned that previously, right?
Correct.
Ultimately, then, after you conduct this initial execution of the search warrant walkthrough, are you then assigned to canvass sort of the surrounding neighborhood of the residents for video surveillance?
Yes, I assisted with that.
And that essentially becomes your larger role in the investigation, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then, after canvassing for video surveillance at that Paladura address and the neighboring community there, did you then assist with the execution of a search warrant at a 5510 Porcupine Rim?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And after assisting with that at the 5510 Porcupine Rim, you then begin to review all of the videos that were ultimately collected from the canvases, correct?
Yes, and the canvas took several days, just in terms of the amount of video that we were able to collect, as well as just the number of houses in both neighborhoods. All of that video was not obtained immediately. It took several days and going back out several times to do the best we could to get as much video as possible.
All right, so let's actually skip ahead. We know what they did, and look at the video here.
XPTM 5940. And I'm going to pause it here. Before I start playing this, I just want to talk a little bit about this video. So it looks like there is no date and timestamp on this video.
No, that's
Is that
weird.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But you were ultimately the individual that collected this video, correct?
Yes.
And so when you collected the video from the homeowner or the individual that lived at the home, you were able to see on their phone what the date and timestamp was. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So even though we don't have the date and timestamp on here, we have your testimony of what you saw on their phone, correct?
Correct.
And in this video, in the top right-hand corner, do we see a vehicle there?
Yes, we do.
And what type of vehicle is that?
That's a Nissan Armada.
Playing? I'm going to stop it at 35 or 36 seconds. What do we see there in the top right-hand corner, sort of past the Nissan Armada?
What you're seeing there is Jonathan's 2020 white Chevy 2500 truck. It's distinctive because of the 2 flags that are displayed in the back, and then he has the trailer connected to the back that he's towing as well.
Playing at 36 seconds.
Is that the dad's truck?
And ultimately in this video, we see that vehicle doing essentially a U-turn and now going past that 2698 Paladura Drive address, correct?
That's correct.
And we're able to also determine what time this occurred based off of other surveillance video, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically from 2697 Paladura Drive. The corresponding time would be 8:18 p.m.?
Correct. 8:18, approximately 43 seconds. It passes the front of the house across the street.
And we will get to that in a second, just so I don't have to switch the discs out. Okay. There is another file of note, UNDM 8045. I'm going to go ahead and play that.
You can hear the DVD loading up. That's hilarious.
And stopping it there. Again, what do we see in the top right-hand corner?
We see the same Nissan Armada.
Okay. And ultimately in that video, what is of evidentiary note?
In that video that you're able to see outside of the screen, what apparently is probably a vehicle pulling up, because you're able to see the headlights of that vehicle that comes to a stop and is illuminating the Nissan Armada based on where it's parked. And from viewing that, it appears that that vehicle would have parked directly in front of 2698 Paladura.
Because this camera is next door 2696, correct?
Correct.
Now you see UF 1169.
Wow.
Publishing. What did we see in that video?
In that video, it appears to be the same headlights that are on, just because the shadows are the same as they were in the previous video that we just watched. And then you're able to see what appears to be two figures that are moving just based on the shadows. And then because there's audio with this, you're also able to hear that those people are talking.
Were you able to determine the time frame of this video?
The determination on this time frame was based off of another camera when the truck returned to the neighborhood. So this would be at approximately 22:12.
And that would be PM?
Correct.
Now, just to go to the next video where you found something interesting. ALN M6052. Publishing. And I want to pause it there at 7 seconds. What did we see in this video?
We saw the flash of the rear lights on the Nissan Armada, which is often consistent with someone unlocking a car.
Uh-oh.
Playing again. And what did we see there?
The driver's side door of the vehicle was opened.
Playing an 18. And there?
Another flash of the lights.
Did we also hear something?
And we did hear something.
What did it appear to be?
Possibly a locking or unlocking of the doors.
Why is this important? Hey, you see someone moving over there too.
And what do we hear there?
But there we hear the engine of the vehicle starting.
Okay. And did it appear that someone entered the vehicle prior to the start?
Correct. It appears that somebody entered into the driver's seat.
And what did we see there?
There we saw the vehicle, the Nissan Armada, slowly pull forward. The brake lights seemed to be activated, which made it appear that the vehicle was just pulling forward and was going to stop just out of the view of the camera.
Okay. And what home was it going in front of?
By the direction that it was going, since it was pulling straight like that, it would be directly in front of 2698 Paladura, and it would be nose to nose with the 2020 Chevy truck that had already parked along the very front of the house.
And that was the home of the murder, correct?
That's correct.
And the time frame for that, through your investigation, you were able to look at different information in this case to determine time frames, correct?
Correct.
And we know that the Nissan had been activated prior to 11 p.m. Is that right?
The video we just watched.
Yes.
The timestamp on that one was actually 23:05:46 seconds, and that was from the resident who actually had the video. That was from her cellular device.
So
and
that would
see
be
the timestamp on it.
11:05 p.m. for us laymen.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna skip ahead again too.
Okay. Now going to FE 4489FC file publishing. It's slow.
It's 3 minutes slow. So the timestamp on the video itself is 3 minutes behind actual time.
Here we go.
We have a date and time stamp here.
Yes, the date's going to be 08/06/2023 with the time of 08/05/19 p.m.
Do we see Jonathan's truck enter the neighborhood here?
There's cameras everywhere.
So far on this, he entered the neighborhood at roughly 9 o'clock at night. I apologize. On this one, it'll actually be, because of the 3 minutes slow, it will be at 8:57 on this, based on the timestamp on this video.
And that's because it's 3 minutes slow, correct?
That's correct.
Playing at 8:56, 45 seconds. They're at 8:57, 36 seconds. What do we see?
We see Jonathan's white Chevy truck with the trailer entering off of Ann Road into the neighborhood, and then it proceeds to turn down Great Juniper towards Porcupine Rim.
Playing 1002.
Gotta be smarter than that.
Ultimately, we see Jonathan's vehicle leaving, correct?
That's correct.
Do you recall about what time?
On this one with the timestamp, it'll be at 09:29 on this time.
Skip ahead again.
I don't know if you're able to hover with the mouse of the work van, so we know where we're looking.
So the white van right here is the work van.
Playing.
It's the neighbor's house.
Again, trash day.
Yes.
Playing 2506. Date and timestamp.
Dated 08/07/2023. Timestamp is 06/21/27 in the morning.
Is this the same?
It's essentially immediately after.
Okay.
It's just a continuation of the one we watched before, essentially.
And again, seeing Debbie Ayer's work van, correct?
That's correct.
All right, we're going to get into some more of this video later. Let me know what y'all think so far. They're painting the picture showing everything that happened leading up and after this man was allegedly brutally murdered and beheaded. We're going to keep covering a lot of this. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. Shout out to the game. There is 2,100 of y'all. We'll say 21,000 in here. Thank y'all for the love and support. We are going to be dropping some clips for y'all later on and some more videos later on this afternoon. Make sure you tune out for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. We're also going to be live tonight. So if you want to check out some of the music from the independent artists in the community, make sure you tap into the Song of the Night live. It's at 8 p.m. tonight. We'll be dropping more videos over the weekend. I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening and afternoon. Shout out to Amy for dropping the super chats in there today. 5 memberships, the 5 bomb, and the cake. Oh my goodness. Look forward to seeing y'all on the next one and in the next video later this afternoon. You know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.